Hey everyone, thanks so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
The death of Ace breaks more than just the world. It breaks fate itself. Thrown into the One Piece universe 10 years before canon, a grieving outsider meets a young Monkey D. Luffy and makes a single decision. This time, Ace will not die. As Luffy's journey begins far earlier than it should, the future slowly unravels, bringing Sabo back into the picture, exposing hidden truths like the mysterious A-Clan, and forcing the brothers to face a destiny that was never meant to change. With friendship, sacrifice, and defiance against fate at its core, this rewritten timeline becomes a battle not just against enemies, but against the future itself. Disclaimer: this story do not belong to me. The author is The Chronicle by ThiefofStealth. Respect to author.
Chapter 11 Updated. Being alone, you insolent brat, is the most terrifying thing to me. Get out of this house if you don't like the rules here. I'm sorry. You're such a burden. I'm sorry. You're so annoying. I'm sorry for being a burden to you. I'm sorry for being a coward. I'm sorry for being annoying. I'm sorry. ... for being alive. XXX. I wake up with guilt in my heart. I sit up and look around. The ASL are still sleeping and it's still dark outside, which means it's still night or even dawn. Man, it's been a while since I felt like this when I woke up. I scratch the back of my head and sigh out. I decided to take a walk until morning and erase all my guilt. As I walk outside the house, I see Pochi, who is already up and approaching me. He sits down next to my feet and looks at me with his usual bored look, as if begging to pet him. How a dog manages to look comically bored is beyond me, but it's funny. I chuckle and pet him. Aren't you adorable, Pochin? I coo as I hug him. He just barks and licks my cheek as I let go of him. I grin at him. Well then, I gotta go. See you later, Pochin, I say as I grab my pipe staff and run toward the woods. He barks once and walks back into his house. As I run down the road, it's still quite dark and cold. 2 of 4 things I hated most for a place. The third one is dirty, while the last one is abandoned. Fortunately, I didn't find any wild beasts on my journey, so I arrive at my destination safe and sound. The cliffs that Ace always goes to when he's upset. I named it Ace Cliffs because he's always there, so the place is practically his. I sit down and look out at the dark sea. The night breeze and the salty smell of the sea are starting to calm me down. I fold my knees and hug them as I put my chin on them and close my eyes. You're such a burden. I quickly open my eyes and shudder as I remember those words before shaking my head. No, I shouldn't remember those words again. It's in the past, and there's no use remembering it. Not only that, I'm not in my home world anymore. Being in this world is basically a fresh start for me, and I'm not going to blow my chance. Yeah, screw shitty parents and siblings. I got a new family to care for now, and they will care for me back. Unlike that shitty family back in the home world. I heard that when you're upset, yelling at the sea is the best cure. I mutter, looking at the sea. I keep on staring and staring until I stand up and walk up toward the edge of the cliff before taking a deep breath. And then just start yelling out at the sea. Fuck you people. Fuck you dad. Fuck you mom. Fuck you sis. Leave me alone. Fucking pasts. So what if I'm being a coward? So what if I'm being a burden? Fuck you all. I pant heavily and cough loudly before yelling the next one. I hate you dad. I hate you mom. I hate you sis. You may see me as a burden and a coward, or you can hit me however you want back home, but unlike you I got my second chance. Unlike you, I can fix my own bullshit with the right people. I pant again and yell the last one. Because that's what families are for, you shitty family. After yelling every bullshit I have in my chest, I fall to my butt and cough up a storm because my throat isn't used to yell and shout, but I end up laughing loudly. I don't know why, but it feels so funny, yelling and cursing out freely like that. Man, my sides hurt, but it's worth it. The weights in my heart are mostly gone and I'm happy. Despite the fact that my throat is burning. Is it just me or I'm feeling that I'm being watched? I stand up and turn my head, squinting my eyes as I stare at a certain bush. And then an orange snout with black nose pops out from the bush and steps out, revealing an orange flame-furred little puppy with a blue feathered baby bird on its head. I blink in amazement as I scoot closer to them. The weird colored puppy is growling at me, while the weird colored baby bird is watching my movements. Wow, I have never seen the most anime-looking animals like these two. In fact, most animals I've seen in the forest are normal colored, but these two are pretty unique. And also, they look super cute. Hi there, what are you doing here? I greet them softly with a smile. The baby bird chirps, while the puppy is still growling at me and takes a step back. Are you lost? abandoned, or ran away? I ask, still gently smiling. First rule of taming wild animals is to act gentle, kind, and trustable. That way, animals will start to trust you, slow but steady. The bird is chirping a few times, as if telling something. But to be honest, I have zero idea on what in the hell's name it's talking about, so I just nod along and pretend that I have a clue on what it's talking about. So, you're saying that you ran away and needed home? I ask with a nervous smile, 100% bullshitting my way through with that question. Second rule is to act like you understand them. And then the bird gives me the most shocked expression a bird can do, as if he didn't even think that I will understand him, which is true enough, I didn't. The puppy seems to know that I'm just bullshitting my way through and just sweat drops a bit when seeing his companion acts like that, while I just laugh nervously. Want to live together with my family. They look up and stare at me with gleaming eyes, which is really adorable. I tried to restrain myself not to hug them, but failed miserably. You two are so fucking cute. I squeal as I hug them, not caring about the puppy's angry yelp and his struggle to let them go. Well, family members are increasing and Dayton is so gonna be pissed. Eventually I let them go and we walked back to the shack. I greet Pochi as we walk past him, who just barks and watches the new companions calmly before yawning with zero care. I walk into the house while the puppy walks in slowly and carefully, and somehow it's pretty noisy inside, so I check on it and see that everyone is gathered up in the living area, with the boys visibly panicking. Oh hey guys, what's wrong? Did Ace hit his head again? I ask as I approach them and everyone literally whips their heads to me, and I definitely disturbed on their eyes on me, so that I put my fighting stance on instinct, what? And before I know it, Luffy suddenly rockets himself to me and tackles me down. I oofed as I hit the back of my head to the floor and groaned in pain, before a hit in the head added onto the pain. I look up and see Ace with a fist up and Sabo next to him. Oh, that hurt. Ace, you meanie. I whine out. You idiot. You almost gave us a heart attack. Ace yells and I just pout. But we're relieved that you're fine. Sabo says with a relieved smile before glancing at Luffy, who's still clinging onto me, though Luffy is the first one to notice that you're gone and starts screaming around in panic. I thought you got kidnapped. Luffy exclaims, on the verge of tears. I snort in amusement. Luffy, we live with mountain bandits. We're basically kidnapped already, although it's a bit reversed when Gramps is the one that threw us here. I tell him before patting his head, but thanks for worrying about me. I'll be fine. I'm stronger than I look, you know. Promise. Promise. I reply before remembering something. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot something. I stand up and sidestep to reveal my new friends. Everyone, meet Takao. I point at the baby bird, who chirps in greeting, and Flame. I point to the puppy, who huffs and throws his head to the side, almost making the bird fall over. The room is really quiet until Dayton breaks the ice. Why the hell did you bring them here, you damned brat? Oh come on, they're my new friends I found when I took a walk in the forest. Let me keep them, please see. I beg Dayton and give her the best puppy eyes I can make, but she's not amused. But I'm not sure if they can be obedient, especially Flame. I grin in amusement. Wah, oh yeah, we should go to town and sell the animal hides we got yesterday. And get breakfast along the way too. I tell the boys, ignoring Dayton screaming at me to stop ignoring her as I walk past them to grab my satchel full of my stuff and a hidden stash of a loaf of bread for the babies to eat. I dunno if they can eat it, but it's food anyway. Once I grab them, I run back to where they are and give them the bread. Takao-chan, Flamey, here. Eat this and stay here until I'm back. We'll be back with some meat to eat, so be obedient and don't make a ruckus, and then I turn to Flame, especially you, Flame. I can hear him grumbling and huffing, while Takao chirps and puffs his chest with his small wing. I just chuckle and pet them both before I turn to the bandits. And you guys, make sure you don't lose them or I'm going to kick all of your asses. I warn them with wide eyes and big smiles before grinning genuinely. Well, wish us luck. I say and run outside, where the ASL are waiting with the animal hides on a cart. I can feel the bandits are literally shaking in their boots and I just grin in amusement. We use a rag to disguise ourselves from the guards. I was positioned under Ace, Luffy is under me, and Sabo is under Luffy. To be honest, we are mostly Sabo walk sloppily like a drunken man. As we're pulling the cart, it's actually me who pulls it, we almost get caught. Thankfully, Ace did the mouth moving while Sabo did the voiceover, telling the guard that we're going to sell croc skin and I pulled the cover, surprising the guard. We continue our journey into an alleyway and I hear voices. I recognize those voices as Ace replies with a bored tone and Sabo hits the closest thug's leg by his pipe. I grin and grip mine, while Ace throws off the rug and reveals us out. We jump and beat off the thugs easily until they can't move anymore. The ASL are busy disguising themselves again while I rummaging through the thugs' pockets, searching for wallets. Hey, I can't help it. Chances won't come twice. Surprisingly, I found some money with quite a nominal fee. I found 200.000 berries from all of the thugs and I scoffed. The hell, they got money after all. Well too bad, they're mine now. Nyahey. Hey Aris, we're gonna sell these skins. Wanna come or not? Ace asks. I approach them with a nod. Sure, plus I need to sell these things and these bugs. But the money will go to me and maybe to Luffy too. Okay. They just shrug and we go back to our position like before. We sell the stuff with a high price, and surprisingly the bugs are sold plenty too. The money from my stuff goes into my pocket, obviously. As we walk around town, Luffy is complaining how hungry he is and I can't help but agree. Hey Ace, any suggestions for brunch? I ask. How about we eat ramen? It tastes really good, you know. I think there's a ramen restaurant here. Ace says. Ramen, what's that? Is it good? Sabo asks. I don't care, as long as it's food. Just hurry up so we can eat. Luffy exclaims. Impatient as always. I chuckle. We keep walking until Ace tells Luffy to stop walking and tells us that we finally arrive at the restaurant. We enter and the owner greets us, before frantically saying that we can't be here. I frown. Sorry to be the bringer of bad news, but we're gonna make you go bankrupt for today, especially with these 3 black holes. And then Sabo is rummaging around his pants, I think, and taking out something. I will order the VIP room. Sabo says, with a mature, noble-like voice tone, which makes the owner immediately go 180 and starts apologizing and welcoming us. And then he escorts us to the VIP room and we order 4 bowls of ramen. Minutes later, a waitress came and put the bowls on the table before exiting, telling us to enjoy ourselves. So this is ramen, Sabo says as he pops his head out from the cover. It smells good. Luffy and I exclaim in sync as we also pop our heads out. Go try it, Ace says as he pulls the cover off. We immediately eat and slurp the noodles while letting out happy sounds. At first I thought the portion was pretty big, but apparently I still have plenty of space in my stomach, so I eat more and more bowls. Same goes with the boys, obviously, and the empty bowls tower over us. It's pretty amazing to see. Too bad our secret didn't last long because Luffy, being his usual idiotic self, stretches out his arm to grab the ramen and scaring the waitress. I can only facepalm and sigh heavily before the owner comes and slams the door open, demanding an answer. Well shit. Busted. Crap. We've been found out. Run. We immediately stop eating and quickly grab our pipes before running off towards the window and jumping out through it. The owner is shouting at us, making people nearby turn to see what the ruckuses are. Ramen really does taste good, Sabo says with a satisfied face. I told you so, Ace replies with a grin. I just laugh at Luffy's hamster-like face as he's still munching on the ramen in his mouth. Luffy and Ace land on a parasol-like thing, I don't know what it's called, while Sabo and I grab on a pole flag before we jump off and land on the main road. The impact kinda hurts, but I ignore the pain as we keep on running when the cops arrive. So this is why Ace is pretty infamous for his dine and dash, huh? Apparently it started when he's young and I don't think he's gonna stop anytime soon in the future. I must say, it's pretty exciting to do, and I spent no money in exchange. We ate 30 bowls of ramen today and left a broken window. I'm gonna write this down in my journal. But before we jumped off earlier, both Luffy and I left a paper and a handful of leaves for the restaurant to pay for the ramen. I just laugh as I imagine the owner's expression. We keep on running until I spot a certain man wearing a blue top hat with frilly edge band around it and golden-colored feather brooch or something on it, and I quickly recognize who it is. It's Sabo's shitty dad. Suddenly, he's calling for Sabo, making him freeze for a moment before turning around. And then Ace and Luffy also stop, but I keep on running as I grab Sabo's arm and ignore that shithead's shouting. Come on, the cops are chasing us. I tell them, and both D-bros follow without looking back. We run and run until we finally arrive at Ace Cliffs. We eventually stop to catch our breath together for a few minutes, before Ace, Luffy, and I surround Sabo, demanding for an answer. Or in this case, I'm just pretending to copy them. What are you talking about? I'm not hiding anything, Sabo says nervously. Oh, really? Luffy asks, quickly believing it. I won't fall for that. Spit it out, Sabo. Ace snaps, do you really think there should be secrets between us? Yeah, he was calling for you, you know. I add, spit it out. The three of us demand. Sabo seems reluctant to talk as he looks away nervously, before saying that he's not hiding anything again. But we immediately grab him by his collar and shake him around as Sabo tries to push Ace and Luffy away. Not me, because I'm in the middle and he only has 2 hands. Spit it out, damn it. Or I'm gonna kick your ass. Gah, I'll talk. And Sabo eventually gives up and tells us that he's actually the son of a noble, making Ace and Luffy yell out in disbelief. The son of a noble. Pregnant pause. Who is? Of course it's me. And then both Ace and Luffy put their pinky in their nose and hummed in return before saying, so. You're the one who asked. Sabo yells in pure annoyance. I'm trying my best to keep a straight face while also just howling in laughter inside, so I'm just visibly shaking with wobbly lips. But in the end, Sabo confesses everything to us. About his parents, that he's not one of the Grey Terminal residents, and about the man who called him his blood father, which surprises Ace a bit. Sorry that I lied to you guys, Sabo apologizes. Well, you apologized, so all's forgiven. Luffy says and smiles. To be honest, I was really surprised. Ace comments as he turns and walks for a few steps closer to the edge of the cliff. If you were born as a noble, why'd you end up in the dump? That's because, Sabo stops as he's deep in thought, remembering those painful days. I just stare at him blankly as I'm still standing in front of him and mindlessly open my mouth. Is it because your parents only care for their fortune and social status, and not you? That's why you ran away from home. I point out with a tilt of my head. The boys quickly turn to look at me in surprise, and I'm starting to hate the attention I give to myself because I keep on running my stupid mouth. How did you know that? Sabo asks. Don't tell me you're. I quickly wave my hand to dismiss his next sentence. No, I'm not one of them. Or at least I don't think so. The only thing I remember when I first woke up here was me falling into the sea and getting rescued by Shanks. I quickly say, which I just realized just throwing oil into the fire of attention. What? You fell from the sky? That's so cool. Luffy exclaims out with literal sparkly eyes. How can you fall from the sky? That doesn't make sense. Ace says in disbelief, are you sure you didn't just hit your head so hard that you're misremembering things? He asks mockingly and I pout. Don't underestimate me in this world. Real life is sometimes more bizarre than fiction, you know. I protest with my arms in the air. So you're saying that you're an otherworlder? Sabo asks and I pout even more. I'm not. Technically I am, but I'm not fueling more into this fire. After a few minutes of unimportant conversation about me, the topic eventually shifts back to Sabo, who starts to tell us about everything that happened that kept on snowballing until he eventually decided to live in Grey Terminal. Grey Terminal residents are completely different from those shitty nobles, and it's 100 times better for me to live alongside them rather than with those rotten nobles in that town. Sabo finishes. So that's what happened, Ace softly comments. Ace, Luffy, Maris. We all look at Sabo as he stands up and points at us, promise we'll set sail. That we'll escape from this kingdom and be free. He says, I want to see the world and write a book about it. I don't know anything about navigation, but I'm going to get stronger and stronger to be a pirate. He exclaims out, making the rest of us grin along with him. I would do that even if you hadn't suggested it. Ace points out as he walks up to the cliff and facing the sea, I'm gonna be a pirate, and I will win, and win until I will be famous. And that's the only way to prove I am alive. No matter how much people reject me and hate me, I'm gonna be a famous pirate and show them all. I won't run from anyone. I won't lose to anyone. And I'll never be afraid of anything. I'm gonna make the whole world remember my name. He exclaims out proudly and I grin. Well, then I want to travel the world and witness whatever future we will have, and I'm going to record it down for others to read. I'm gonna write it from the time I wake up here, and until our journey comes to an end. I will witness and write every night and every dawn into one hell of a chronicle that brings laughter to the world. I exclaim out before turning to Luffy with a grin, and I guess being a pirate sounds fun too. I add and Luffy grins in return. Shishishi. Oh yeah, alright. Luffy then runs toward the cliff and takes a deep breath before exclaiming, well, I'm. That surprised the older boys as they stare at Luffy, who's laughing while I just widen my eyes at that revelation before laughing along, in which Sabo eventually joins in while Ace just scratches his head in amusement. The things you say, Ace mutters, still a bit in shock before remembering that it's Luffy. Ahahaha. That's great, Luffy. I look forward to seeing your future. Sabo says before he stops and turns to us, but how can all four of us be captains? He asks. I hadn't thought about that. Sabo, I thought for sure you'd be the navigator. Ace says. You guys can be on my ship. Luffy exclaims, in which the older boys straight up refuse. Luffy just yells out in shock before childishly whining that they should be on their ship, in which they refuse again while I just chuckle and look at Luffy. It's okay Luffy, I'll be on your ship and become your first member of your crew. And then we'll throw a party to our heart's content. I assure him with a smile, and he returns it with a literal sun behind his happy face and beaming with hopeful expression. So, bright, really? I nod, making him jump around in happiness before hugging me tight, using his rubber ability to literally tie himself up to me, almost making me fall over. I just laugh while Ace and Sabo are giving me an, are you serious? Look before shaking their heads and sighing out in amusement, making me giggle. And then Ace goes off somewhere, probably went home, and comes back with 4 red sake cups and a bottle of sake together with a company, which are Takao and Flame. Takao-chan. Flamey. Why are you here? I ask as they're approaching me. They were following me when I took these things and walked back here. Ace replies as he puts down the cups on a tree stump between all of us. I just stare and pet the babies before walking up to the stump, with the babies following behind me and sitting down next to my feet. Anyway, let's leave future decisions for the future, Ace says as he takes the sake and puts it on the stump. Maybe we'll all be on separate ships. Oh, you stole it from Dayton. Did you guys know? If you share a drink, you can become brothers, Ace informs as he pulls the cork open and pours the liquid into the cups before turning to me, and sister too, I suppose. I just shrug, just brother is fine by me. Those things didn't matter to me. I say, sure, just brothers then. Ace concludes. Brothers, really? We might not be on the same ship when we become pirates, but this will connect us together as brothers. No matter where we are or what we do, nothing can break this bond. Ace continues as he takes one of the cups and the rest of us follow along and put them in the air. From today on, we're brothers. We toast our sake cups together with a big smile on our faces. Yeah, Chapter 12, updated. Right in the afternoon, we're off into the town to beat up some thugs. Though to be honest, we're back in town because I forgot to buy spices and sweets yesterday, so I brought the boys with me to accompany me, and then we decided to beat thugs up on the way too. Oh, and steal their money too, of course. Sabo is acting as a bait, while Ace attacks them from behind, using Luffy's stretched leg to swing in. I'm with Luffy on the rooftop until his leg stretches back to him and he flies off from the recoil. I immediately jump into the scene and land on one of the thugs' head, knocking him out instantly before headbutting another in the balls when he's about to punch Luffy. Somehow, I can feel Luffy's horrified and pained look at my direction. After a few minutes, the thugs are mostly down and I quickly rummage into their pockets, grabbing literally anything useful looking and putting them into my satchel. And then we hear a whistle and hurried footsteps, slowly getting louder. Aw shit, it's the cops. The cops are coming. Let's go, Ace says, running and jumping over a wall along with Sabo. Luffy throws his arm forward and I cling onto him as we stretch back towards Ace, who's perching on the wall. Luffy bounces from the wall while I let go of him so that Ace can catch me, and then we quickly jump and run off from the town. I just giggle madly as we run. Eventually we arrive at the tree where Takao and Flame are waiting for us. Then Sabo suggests hunting a deer for today's dinner, which gets positive responses from Luffy and the babies, who cheer out and run off somewhere. Sabo, Ace, and I then followed them and got ourselves a huge-ass deer. We're home, Luffy and I shout in sync. Don't come home, you troublesome kids. Dayton shouts back before she gets cut off by a deer landing on her face by Ace and Sabo and she falls on her back. The boys just walk away without any care for Dayton while I just laugh at her misery as I crouch down next to her. Don't worry, Dayton, I'll help you cook dinner. But the antlers and hides are mine to take, okay? I assure her with berry signs on my eyes. It's not possible, but I can imagine it when I talk about money. After a lot of cooking, dinner is ready and the usual ruckus starts. It's amusing to watch and I might join in just for the sake of it after I ate my portion I put aside for myself. But of course, living in a house filled with men and beasts, there's at least 1 or 3 people trying to steal what's mine. And those people are the ASL. Of course, I immediately react and bite any hands in my vision except for my own hands, hissing and snarling at them. I only share some with the babies, but Flame prefers to join the actual ruckus than me and Takao. He is basically equally beastly and crazy like the boys when it comes to food, fighting his way up towards his food. Takao is still a baby, so I feed him with small pieces of unseasoned meat. I can see that Dayton is surprisingly calm about this, until a slice of meat lands on the left side of her face, then her right, before a bowl is thrown to her face, making her snap and joining the ruckus. And suddenly Luffy is biting on her head, making her run and yelling around like a headless chicken, but of course Ace, Sabo, and Flame barely glance back at her as they're busy with their meat. Because of the ruckus, the 4 of us plus Flame and Takao are thrown into the bathroom by Dayton, who is clearly upset and tells us to clean ourselves and don't come out until we're clean. I'm washing Flame in a small bucket with shampoo for dogs, and the puppy in question is not happy that he's bathing right now. Takao is perching nearby on top of an upside-down bucket and just watching us. But then suddenly a bucket full of water is thrown at me, making me wet and the bubbles on Flame get washed off. I turn to face the perpetrator aka Ace, who's smirking at me and I smirk back before splashing water at his direction playfully. Eventually we stop playing around and wash ourselves up, and Luffy is asking me the most embarrassing question I have ever heard. Hey Aris, how come you don't have a family jewel between your legs? Luffy asks innocently, while I can hear Sabo is just choking on his saliva. That's because I'm not born with one. I answer calmly. How come? Some people just don't, but instead, they have something inside them to store babies inside. Oh, like a bag. Pretty much, yeah. Oh, okay. And that's pretty much how sudden sex education for Luffy dropped. Thankfully he didn't ask further while I can see that Sabo's face is completely red and Ace is looking at him weirdly. Ah, so the D brothers are equal in terms of knowledge about it, but Sabo seems to know plenty. That's kind of funny. What are you guys talking about? Never mind, Ace just continues the conversation. We're talking about the birds and the bees. I reply and both Ds are even more confused. We'll talk about it later in the education session and Sabo will explain it to us. I continue and smirk when Sabo gives me a disbelief look that I just betrayed him and pushed him into the hole of shame. We finish our bath and dry myself and the babies up with a towel in my arms before following the boys along, who are still dripping wet when they enter the living area and just goofing around with each other. Luffy, Ace, Sabo. Dry yourselves up first, you're making the floor wet. I scold them, but none of them care enough to hear me. I just let out a sigh and I spotted Dayton just holding her anger that the deck brush in her hands broke into 2. We get dressed when we arrive in our room. The boys use their previous clothes while I wear a new, clean shirt because I'm not gross like the boys. I wear a plain red shirt and black shorts, and am currently drying up my hair and flame. Apparently the boys decide that having one last SS is a good idea, but I'm dead tired and just watch them from afar in the corner with the babies. Flame seems ready to jump in and join though, but he didn't, so he might have just been pretty excited to watch them. The boys wrestle so badly and so hard that Luffy actually breaks through the floor and falls down with a loud crash. I scoot closer to the hole along with the older boys and the babies, peeking down. "Luffy, are you alive?" Ace asks. "The floor is quite fragile," Sabo comments. "This is going to be a pain to fix." I point out. "Damn you guys," Luffy shouts from below, followed by Dayton's loud angry cry and starts to chase Luffy around. We just watch the scene with a sweat drop and in slight amusement. "Should we sleep?" Ace asks, turning to Sabo. "Yeah, we should," Sabo replies, and they both go to bed, leaving Luffy alone as he's running around from the lion. And then I decide to go to bed too, as I'm getting sleepy and I drift off into dreamland by the time I rest my head on the pillow. I wake up as a hand slaps on my face. I quickly remove it and see that it's Sabo's. I sit up and yawn, rubbing my eye and stretching out to pop my bones. I look around and decide to walk out to wash my face. I tie my hair up using a cloth I stole a week ago, but of course it's going to be messy because it's not a hair tie, but it suffices for now. After I wash my face and back into the shack, I hear the boys start to wake up. "Morning." I greet them and they just grunt for a reply, their hair sticking out everywhere that I just giggle before trying to fix their hair. I like it when they just woke up. They're all quiet and didn't protest much. We all go down and hear familiar voices from outside. Both Luffy and I look at each other in realization and we quickly run outside. Sure enough, it's Makino and Mayor would slap. "Makino." Both Luffy and I exclaim out in sync, running up to her and hugging her. "Luffy." Aris-chan. Makino replies with a big smile, hugging us back. "You two seem healthy. It's been 6 months, so we came because we're worried about you." Mayor says with a kind smile. "Oh, Mayor." Luffy and I greet him in sync before Makino crouches down to be on eye level with us and puts a finger on her lips. "Keep this a secret from Garp-san, okay?" She tells us and I just give her a nervous laugh. "I don't know about that, Makino. That old man always managed to know shits for some reason. So you two really do live with those bandits, Mayor mutters, making Dayton look at him with a sour look. "You have a problem with that?" She asks. "Of course, you bandits definitely have bad behaviors." Mayor complains. "What did you say? The one who has no manners are the people from Fuchsia village." Dayton replies back. Both of them then proceed to argue with each other while I just stare at them with sweat drops before turning back to Makino when she claps her hands together. "I have something for you too. I'm sure Garp-san never gives you anything." She starts rummaging into the basket she brought along before taking out a shirt with pastel yellow color and a purple star in the center, and then another shirt with turquoise color with the word, "Chaos," at the chest area, ta-da. "New clothes for you. Wow, so cool." Luffy exclaims out excitedly. "Thank you, Makino." We start to run out of clothes that Sabo is wearing the same clothes every single day. I tell her with a smirk as I thumb at the said boy by the doorsill. "Oh my, I guess it's a good thing we come in time, don't we?" Makino comments in amusement as she turns to look at the older boys. "Don't worry, I bring plenty of clothes for all of you, so none of you will run out of clothes." She continues with a kind smile. I see that the older boy's cheeks redden and Sabo eventually approaches us, leaving Ace behind as I help Luffy to wear his new shirt and then wear mine. Makino shows Sabo a sleeveless dark purple shirt before turning to Ace. "You too," she says with a smile. Ace hesitates a bit at first, but finally gives up and approaches us. "I heard Ace-kun is a naughty boy. But it looks like you're a good kid," Makino says and smiles while adjusting a sleeveless plain green colored shirt to Ace, which makes him blush and looks away in embarrassment. That's not. Sabo, Luffy, and I are giggling at the scene. He looks sheepish. Sabo teases. "Your face is red, Ace." Luffy points out. "And you're sweating up a storm." I add with a big grin. "You guys." Ace starts, but quickly gets cut off by Makino who tells him to not move around a lot. "I'll get you guys later," he mutters and we all laugh harder. In the evening, I decided to help Makino because she's making a big meal for all of us, bandits included. Sometimes I burn the meal or burn myself a little, but the meals turn out great and tasty, and it makes me happy that everyone is eating happily. Then the boys start talking, or more likely arguing, about their voyage journey in the future later, and in the end Luffy says that he'll be the first one to be a pirate, and then everyone is spitting their food, making Ace and Luffy stare and blink in confusion, and then continued by a loud cough behind Ace, Luffy and I, making us go pale and turn around in fear. "So you two still talk shit, huh?" Garp says with an evil grin, making the D-bros spitting out their food too while I just back away. "Why don't you understand that you both must become great marine soldiers yet?" He shouts before giving the D-bros his fist of love, making them fall down with their eyes rolling behind. Then he calls for Dayton, and before she can say anything, he also gives her the same punch in the head, making her join with the other two. Why, me too. Looks like you didn't educate them properly, he says, fist still in the air. I quickly run and hide behind Sabo after seeing his victims as Sabo stares at Gramps with terrified looks. Gee Garp. So he's Ace, Luffy, and Aris grandpa. Sabo asks no one in particular before Gramps turns to look at us, or Sabo in particular. Hey kid, you also said something about being a pirate too, didn't you? Garp recalls with a dark look. And then Luffy stands in front of Sabo and replies, he's not a kid, he's Sabo. We four became brothers and we're all going to be pirates. And Aris will be on my ship as my first crew member. Damn it Luffy. He and his big mouth, Ace mutters, resigned. Ooh, so now there are 4 brothers who I should give a lesson to, huh? Garp says as he's cracking up his knuckles and preparing for his next attacks, not even showing a reaction that there are 4 brothers and not 3 brothers and 1 sister. This is bad. And what I mean by bad is really, really bad. Run. I yell out as I quickly run toward the back door and into the woods while screaming out in fear, with the boys following behind me and screaming along with me. Don't you dare running away. We all scream while still running away from the insane gorilla behind us, but the one who runs faster is me. Wait, and let you beat us up until we're in a brink of death. I refuse. I scream out and just dodge a punch by a hairbreadth as he actually punches through a tree and breaks it effortlessly. That was close. He keeps on attacking us, or more likely trying to attack us, until he gets the boys. I keep on running and dodging without looking back and go faster when I hear the footsteps getting closer. Wait, you must become a great Marine too. Gramps yells as he gets closer. Eat shit, shitty Gramps. Marines and world government can eat my ass. I scream out. That's, Grandpa, for you. I quickly do a U-turn and slip under his legs before continuing on running. I was pretty sure Garp knew my movements because of hockey, but apparently not that I'm able to escape his grasp as I continue on running. Somehow, I'm thankful that I'm super short right now. After a few minutes of running, I suddenly sprained my left ankle and it significantly slowed me down. But I can't hear that Gramps gorilla stomping around nearby anymore and I can finally catch my breath. Fucking hell, that was the most exhausting exercise I got and I'm not looking forward for another one for the next few years. Thankfully, Garp's rampage in the forest actually drove animals away and gave me a waypoint towards where the boys were, so I just limped my way to them until I found them all beaten up and on the verge of passing out. Sheesh, this is basically abusive. Crazy old man, and we can't report it because he's one of those world government bastards. Damn it, are you guys still alive? I ask, poking on them using a stick I found nearby and they all groan out in pain. Wah, Aris, are you still alive? Ace asks as he tries to sit up but grunts in pain when he does that. Yeah, somehow. He almost got me several times. Managed to dodge most of them somehow. I reply with a nod. Ah, that hurts, Sabo whines out as he sits up, along with Luffy. Can you guys walk? I ask as they all try to stand on their feet and rub their sore spots. Sort of. We should go back so I can take care of your injuries. I bet Gramps is already drunk and asleep with the bandits. I tell them and start to walk, but the boys seem to realize my limp. Aris, you okay? Luffy asks in concern. I kinda sprained my ankle. It's been a while since the last time I ran that fast and long, but I'll be fine. I reply and Ace hits me in the head. That hurt. What gives? I yell, rubbing on the bump. What do you mean by, fine? You sprained your ankle. Of course it's not fine. Ace scolds me and I pout at that, but didn't say anything in return. And then he turns around and crouches down, his back facing me. Come on, I'll piggyback you to Dayton's house. You can't walk, right? Ace says, looking at me from his shoulder. I stare at him for a moment before quickly nodding. I wrap my arms around his neck and he holds me from behind before he stands up. Hang on tight, okay. He tells me softly before he starts to walk, with the other two following right behind. This feels nice. I bury my face into the crook of his shoulder and just sighs out. This is nice and Ace is warm. This close, I can smell that he smells like the sun, and grass, considering he just got beaten up to pulp and into bushes and trees, it's to be expected. You smell nice. I comment bluntly, and I can feel Ace tenses up a bit. Whoops, maybe I shouldn't say that. Do you always smell people around you, weirdo? Ace asks teasingly and I pout. I'm not a weirdo. And I guess. Luffy smells like rubber and meat, Sabo smells like a smoky and sweet body odor, Dayton smells like cigarettes, Gramps smells like salt and freshly made rice, and you smell like the sun and freshly cut grass at the moment. I elaborate. I understand Luffy because you both are basically inseparable, but I can't believe you even smelled that Gramps. Sabo quips up in slight disbelief. Nyehehey, then I guess I just have that strong of a nose. I reply proudly. I don't think that's something to be really proud of, Sabo adds with a sweat drop. We walk back home quietly through the back door and up to our room. I limp my way to my satchel and grab the first aid kit to take care of the boys' injuries, before Sabo bandages my sprained ankle gently along with the scratches I got from the cat-mouse chase with Gramps. If this continues, that old man would have killed us. Ace says as we peek down, watching Gramps sleeping with the bandits at the lower floor. If we survive, he will continue to make us quit being a pirate. Sabo continues. I don't want to die. Luffy says, terrified. Then why don't we just live by ourselves in the forest? I suggest with a smile, we can already fend for ourselves and find our own meal. All we need to do is try to build ourselves a place to live. How's that sound? The boys look at me before grinning. That's a great idea. We decided to leave early in the morning and bring all of our things with us. We wrote a letter and gave it to Flame so he can deliver it when we're halfway in the forest. My sprained ankle still hurts a bit, but Sabo piggybacks me when the terrain is a little too much. Oh, he smells sweeter and less smoky. Also, I wrote another letter for Gramps that says, to stupid, crazy gorilla Gramps. I'm not going to join the people who hate my friends just for existing. Kiss my ass, marine dog. Signed, Maris. I told Flame to give it personally to Gramps and quickly ran for his life after. I hope he's okay. And then Flame comes back, still safe and sound, which makes me sigh in relief. We got away from them, right? Luffy asks after a while. They didn't pursue us, Dayton and the others, Sabo says. I pick Flame up and hold him in my arms. He didn't protest for once while Takao is chirping happily in my head. I turn to Ace, who looks behind us with that distant and forlorn look on his face, probably remembering the past. I watch him silently before gently patting him in the head, which grabs his attention. What are you doing? Ace asks, with a surprisingly calm voice. Nothing. I just thought that you need one. I reply with a shrug before I turn to the others. Well, we should hurry up before they start looking for us. I add and they all nod before a drop of water lands on my nose and turns into a full-blown rain. I yelp a bit when Ace suddenly carries me into his arms before the boys run, searching for a shelter. They eventually found a huge tree with big roots that makes a cave under it, so we immediately crawled in to take shelter. Let's shelter here for a moment. Ace says once we're all inside the root cave. We all stare out into the rain when we finally settle in, Luffy laughing and saying how exciting their new adventure is. The older boys sit between the younger ones. I sit next to Luffy and Ace with Takao and Flame on my lap, while Luffy sits next to me and Sabo. We're all watching the rain until the boys and the babies start to doze off. I'm still watching the rain while Luffy and Ace are leaning on me before I glance at their sleeping faces fondly and start to doze off myself. When they're asleep like this, they're pretty much like any other normal children. Peaceful and happy, just like how kids should be when they're kids. Children with happy lives. Chapter 13, updated. I wake up when someone shakes me awake. I yawn and rub my eyes when I see that it was Sabo who shook me awake. The rain stopped. I ask sleepily and he nods. Yeep. Come on, we have something to show you. He says with a grin and we both crawl out to Ace and Luffy. I stretch out and see that the babies are playing around nearby before limping my way to the boys and sneezing out. You okay, Maris? Luffy asks and I just nod. So what's up? I ask and Sabo points at the crude drawing between us before saying that we're gonna build our own hideout. A hideout, so cool. Luffy exclaims out. Then where do we get the building materials? Ace asks, making Sabo grins. Ain't there plenty of them in that place? Sabo points out and looks to the side, the general direction where Gray Terminal is. We look at each other before grinning excitedly. We all go to the dump with bursts of energy. The boys are jumping around while gathering building materials, while I just wait by the cart that Ace found with the babies because of my condition. Sometimes Flame helps along with gathering materials, and eventually we manage to gather enough to build our soon-to-be hideout. Everyone is excited for our future hideout as we start building it. I mostly just stay on the ground while the boys are doing most of the work up on the tree. Damn it, if I don't have a sprained ankle, I get to build along and have fun. This is because of that crazy gorilla of a Gramps. I'm gonna fight him if we meet again. Evening comes and the boys plus Flame hunt a deer for dinner while I just wait by the tree with Takao. Thankfully, I bring along my spices box to season the meat and sparing some for Flame and Takao to eat. But when we're pretty confused on how to make fire, Flame did the unthinkable and coughed out a ball of fire. We all stare in shock and disbelief, until Luffy breaks the silence by shouting about how awesome Flame is. The pup in question seems proud and a little embarrassed by that accomplishment, while I just compliment him and give him a pet. Thanks to Flame for suddenly coughing up a fireball, dinner was easily served and eaten. Despite being seasoned lightly, dinner tastes pretty good, probably because everyone is basically tired and excited for our future hideout. As we eat, we start to talk about literally everything, until the boys decide to pick back up that particular talk about me dropping from the sky. So how did that happen? Sabo asks curiously. Did you fly? Can you fly? Luffy asks excitedly. That's stupid. Humans can't fly. Ace dismisses Luffy with an amused roll of his eyes. I just hum in return, trying my best to think of something. I can't just tell them that I'm not from this world. They'll just stare and call me weirdo for the rest of my life. That's a great question, because I don't even know how that happened. I reply with a nervous laugh. One day I just suddenly fell from the sky and into the sea, and then I woke up in Fuchsia village after Shanks rescued me. Really? Luffy asks again and I nod. Damn, I thought you might be an otherworldie. He concludes in disappointment and I just blink in confusion. It's otherworlder. Sabo corrects him. Yeah, that. I heard they came from a different world from this one, and I think that's pretty cool. Luffy continues, I've always wanted to have an otherworldly friend. It's otherworlder, Luffy. Yeah, that. So, anyone gonna tell me what's this otherworlder thing about? I ask with pure confusion. From what I've read in books, otherworlder is a being from another world that has mysterious power and was said to be very powerful. Sabo explains, but nobody knows how true that is though. It can be very much just children's stories. He adds with a shrug. Well I mean, technically I am one, but I'm not fueling further on that idea. Are you sure you didn't just hit your head that you thought you fell from the sky? Ace scoffs with a smirk. I sure did, but pretty sure that's not the reason why I fell from the sky and into the blue depths below. I replied. But still, I wonder how that happened. The sea sure is vast and filled with great unknowns. Sabo concludes seriously and I just chuckle. Well, don't be amazed yet, because once you're all great pirates and into the Grand Line, there will be even more weird things that you will never see in East Blue. I tell them with a grin. Really? What kind of things? Ace asks in curiosity. Let's see, how about these people called the Fishmen and the Merfolk? I start and they all start to get even more interested. It's in their name and a pretty straightforward one, but basically fishmen are the ones with mixed humanoid fish features, while merfolks are half up human, half down fish. They currently live 10,000 meters deep in the Grand Line Sea and away from humans. Wow, I didn't know there were people like that. So cool. Luffy exclaims out excitedly and I chuckle. But they're discriminated against by humans. It's been on like that for many, many years, and people even captured and sold them for money. I elaborate further sadly and the boys immediately stiffen up. But, why? Ace asks and I hum for a moment. I guess because humans are just scared of those that are unknown or different to them. I rest my chin on my palm as I look into the bonfire between us. They call those who are not in the same box as them as monsters, or demons, and while most did it because of fear, others do it because it makes them feel superior. I explained before glancing at Sabo. I guess the best analogy to give is like how those nobles look at great terminal residents. I add and Sabo flinches at that, but I just laugh and slap his back. Relax, Sabo. You're not one of them, so relax your back. I assure him with a grin and the other boys join me. Yeah Sabo. I don't care if you're a noble, Sabo is Sabo. And you're my brother. Luffy says with his usual big grin and Ace nods in agreement before turning to me. But how did you know all of these, Aris? Ace asks calmly, and that makes me panicking a little before using the old school trick. I read it from books. I quickly lie nervously, and while Ace and Sabo are a little hard to convince, the D brothers easily fall for it because none of them actually like to read books. Sabo might need a little more convincing, but he stays silent anyway. For the next few days, my ankle got better and I can walk around without limping anymore, so I can help the boys around the building. Sometimes I help them with the building, sometimes I help by hunting dinner for us. It's pretty good training for me too, and thankfully my ankle seems to heal up properly. And after a whole week, the hideout is finally done. For the last touch, we spread out our pirate flag at the top branch of the tree with our names, initials, ASLE. A in red for Ace, S in blue for Sabo, L in yellow for Luffy, and E in pink for Aris. We all grin at the flag and I giggle happily along with the others. And then we go down to admire our hard work in its glory. So cool. I really like this place. Luffy says and I nod in agreement. Yeah, and we built it on the huge, tallest tree in the forest. I continue in amazement. Truly, it's a miracle that there were no casualties when we built it, considering we did it without safety protocols. Right, I told you. Sabo grins before turning to Ace, who wears such a serious thinking face. What's wrong, Ace? If this is our hideout, then we should make some traps. Ace suggests with a grin. That would be a great idea. Sabo agrees. And for the rest of the day, we spent our time making traps and finished by nighttime. We all then go to bed because we're all dead tired. But when I try to doze off, nature is calling me and I have to go immediately. Takao and Flame are accompanying me as I go down and do my business at the nearby river. After I'm done, we walk back to the hideout, only to hear a loud crash and a big thing lands into the bushes in front of me. Flame is growling as the thing moves and stands up, only to realize that it's Dayton, of all people. Oh hi, old lady Dayton. Came to check up on us. I greet her in amusement as it surprises her and she turns around to face me. Aris. I'm not checking anything. I'm not worried about you four at all. She quickly says and I just laugh in return. Yeah, thanks for not worrying about us. I reply teasingly as I put the babies on my head. Well, good night Dayton. And I climb up using the rope ladder, leaving her behind and I can see that she's grumbling while walking back home. When I reach our room, Sabo and Ace are awake and looking at me. Where have you been? Sabo asks. I reply shortly as I put the babies down and notice that Sabo blushes a little, but I didn't comment on it as I turn to Ace. I also met Dayton. Apparently she was actually worried about us and decided to check on us, but it seemed like our trap got her. I continue with a laugh. Dayton did? Ace asks, seemingly surprised about it as I nod. Yeah, she's being in denial about it though. I grin. Isn't that nice, Ace? Apparently she's pretty worried enough to actually check up on us up here. I tell him with a chuckle. Ace stays silent as he looks out again with that distant look of his, but his eyes seem softer than usual. Well, I'm going back to sleep. I announce before grabbing Sabo down to give him a kiss on his forehead, and doing the same to Ace. Both boys seem stunned by that as I walk to Luffy and fix his blanket before giving him a kiss on his forehead too. Good night, Lou. I whisper before I pull my own blanket and curl up to him. Good night, Ace and Sabo. I say before I drift off to dreamland with a smile. Somehow I can feel something pressing on my forehead for a brief moment, but it's probably just my imagination. XXX. It's been a few months since we lived in our hideout, and now winter is here. Come on, Aris. Let's go play outside. The snow is everywhere. Let's make a snowman. Luffy says excitedly, trying his best to persuade me. I would reply, but I'm too busy clattering my teeth together and shivering before sneezing. Even after wearing 2 sweaters, a jacket, trousers, boots, scarf, and mittens, the cold still gets me even by the slightest gust of cold wind. I even make Flame my personal heater and the pup isn't impressed. I'm not used to the sudden drop of temperature. Sucks to be used to living in warmer temperatures back in my home world, but I can't stand the heat either. It doesn't help when the boys aren't exactly wearing thick clothes to begin with. Just looking at them makes me feel colder. I almost forgot to mention, but Takao and Flame are starting to grow bigger. Flame's physical appearance changed, he got bigger and sturdier, and his fur got thicker, probably because of winter coat. While Takao's baby feathers start to get replaced by his adult ones and he grows bigger too. Maybe in spring, he can take flying lessons. Oh okay, it's starting to get warmer. Let's go. I say with a muffled voice because the scarf is basically covering half of my face and neck. Shishishi. Aris, you look like a mummy. Luffy laughs and the other 2 boys follow. I just glare and growl at them before I sneeze. We go down and decide to hunt a danpa for our meal. We get ourselves 2 danpas. It's a bear with the opposite pattern of a panda, but a giant tiger comes to take the danpa from us. Luffy won't let the tiger go because it's his first kill and starts attacking the tiger a few times, but he always fails and we quickly grab him and run off, while Luffy yells out that he will remember this to the tiger. In the end, we go back with only 1 danpa and we're crossing the bridge. Luffy is still upset that his first catch is gone and won't forgive the tiger before jumping on the bridge, swaying it around. We all panicked and told him to stop, but he didn't listen and kept on jumping, which broke the board under him and he started to slip. I quickly run and grab his hand, but unfortunately the gravity takes me along too and we might have a freezing bath if Ace didn't quickly grab us and Sabo holding Ace's feet before pulling us back up. We go back home empty-handed, because the first danpa got thrown off into the river because of Luffy, so now we gain nothing and we're all hungry. Ah, I'm so hungry. Luffy complains with a laugh. And it's your fault. For once, Ace and I exclaim in sync as we punch him in the head. Ow, but if someone takes your catch, let alone the first one, you'll be angry too, right? Sabo points out as we get ready to sleep. But it was too risky to fight against the tiger. Ace replies with a roll of his eyes and Sabo just laughs. You've done the same. Sabo quickly interrupts with a grin. Shut up. Ace huffs in slight embarrassment before we lay down on our bed, looking at the ceiling. Flame is sleeping next to me while Takao is asleep in his nest I made from my scarf. We all stare at the ceiling as Luffy suddenly giggles, pulling his blanket over his head and muttering something before giggling madly again, making Ace, Sabo, and I stare at him. The boys look at him in confusion while I just smile in amusement. Why are you laughing? Ace asks, looking at Luffy with a weird look. Isn't it going to make you hungrier? Sabo adds, with the same look as Ace's. I've decided. Luffy says suddenly, Ace. Sabo, you'll join my crew, won't you? He asks. What's with you? Sabo snaps. Didn't we decide that we'll let the future decide it for us? Ace points out. But wouldn't it be so much fun? And you'll definitely need my help, right? Luffy replies, as if foreshadowing something. Then the 3 of us turn to look at him and rest our chin on our palm. I think you're the one who needs help here, right? Sabo says. Yeah. Ace replies. You're wrong. Then Luffy sits up and continues, I'm the one who will help you someday. Then how about the 3 of you become my crew in my ship? Ace asks. I'm the captain. Sabo and Luffy exclaim. I'll go wherever you guys want to, but I'm still gonna be Luffy's crewmate. I replied. Well, I guess there's no point in arguing. Ace finishes. So you're not coming? Luffy asks with a sad frown. Nope. Ace replies and lays back into his mattress. Sabo, I'm not going to be your subordinate, so forget it. Sabo replies and also lays back into his mattress. I just grin at Luffy, who's pouting and complaining. Come on, it's gonna be fun. Then how about you three make a competition? I suggest, whoever beats the tiger first will get to be the captain. Beat the tiger? Are you serious? Ace asks in disbelief, as if I'm growing a head. Luffy's possibility to become a captain is almost zero, you know. Sabo points out. Maybe, but he's already a captain when I said I'll be his crewmate. I smirk teasingly and Luffy just giggles in reply, but to establish even concrete evidence to show if you're capable of becoming a captain, try to beat the tiger. No one has beaten the tiger yet either. That's a pretty good point. Sabo agrees with a nod. Then let's do it tomorrow. Luffy decides with a grin. Alright, right in the morning, the boys left to catch some fish as bait for the tiger. Because the only ones who wanted to be captain are them, I just sat on a cliff together with Flame and Takao and watched the scene. Eventually I hear a loud growling from a distance, before revealing it to be a giant bear. I see Ace starts attacking it, but I think the attacks are futile as a big bump appears on its head and it pretty much angers the bear before it chases the boys around. I just watch and laugh my ass off as the boys appear from beyond the forest and the bear is still chasing them before an old man suddenly shows up to save their asses. I decided to go down the cliff carefully and approach them after the old man somehow made the bear walk back into the forest, with the babies on my head. You guys okay? I ask with a smile as I put the babies down and they run off toward the fishes. The boys turn, still with a shocked face. Wait, Luffy doesn't, and reply, sort of. I nod and reply, you answered. You're okay then. During our short conversation, the babies walk back with the ropes on the fishes in Flame's mouth before letting it go as he sits down next to me. I pet him thank you before returning the fish to the boys and turning to face the old man. You're Naguri from Grade Terminal, I presume? I ask calmly. Well, yes I am. He confirms with a nod and a grin. By the end of the day, the fishes are cooked and have plenty of conversations with Naguri. He told us about he's a former pirate captain and how Luffy is both impressed and amazed because he also knew that he's one because he can make animals run away just by glaring at it just like Shanks did. Ace cut the cooked fish for us to eat, including Naguri because he saved the boys. I eat in silence and share it with the babies while Luffy protests that his portion is smaller as the conversation is picked up again, this time by Ace. Have you heard of Gold Roger? I pause eating my fish as I glance at Ace, while the other boys are occupied by Naguri's question. His expression is grim and hatred is surfacing in his eyes. The conversation went on, this time by Luffy, and I kept my eyes on him before giving the rest of my fish to the babies. I hear a twig get snapped and see that Ace is walking away, his fists clenching so hard that his knuckles turn white. Sabo realizes it and about to go after him, but I stand up first. I'm going home. I'm freezing. I tell him and give him a wink, before I run after Ace. Apparently Ace went back home to our hideout. I just watch him climbing up the ladder before walking inside, so I follow him along and see that he's looking out from the window. Did Naguri press a berserk button? I ask as I approach him. Why are you here? He asks in annoyance as he looks at me from his shoulder. I don't know. I shrug as I join him looking out of the window. It's a little too tall for me, but I'll manage. He didn't say anything in return and he turned his head back to the sight outside of the window. Say Aris, Ace starts and I hum in reply, do you think that I should be alive? He asks. I hum neutrally before turning at him, it depends. Why do you think you should die? I return the question. Just answer me, damn it. Ace snaps. But I'm serious. I replied firmly, why do you think you should die? I repeat the question again, this time staring straight into his eyes. He didn't reply and broke eye contact, so I continued, is it because of Roger? He tenses up, but stays silent. What's your connection with the guy anyway? I ask with a curious tone. I already know, but I'm not gonna rat myself out. What if, Ace starts, what if Roger has a son? I stare at him blankly, while he looks even more nervous as seconds pass before I look back outside. I don't know, I reply calmly, I guess if he really did have a son, his child will live in misery, with his father's shadow looming over him, and the news of that will cause a huge uproar to the world. Everyone will hunt him to the edge of the world, and he won't be able to get a blink of sleep. But that's another story for another time. I conclude and I continue on, I don't know Roger to comment much, but people tend to hate those they fear. Roger is a demon, people say. What the fuck is the definition of demon and human, anyway? Someone who seeks freedom is a demon. Someone who brings order is human. Bullshit. To me, humans are nothing but the same as those rotten nobles that drove Sabo away, fucking egoistical bastards who think nothing but themselves. If being a demon means I get to be free and be myself, then I'll gladly become a demon. I huff and turn to Ace, what about you, Ace? Are you a demon, or are you a human? Ace blinks before looking down, seems troubled on how to come up with a response. Ace starts, but he falls silent in the end. Still, I'd say that your mom is pretty badass. I continue on as I hop up and down by the windowsill. What do you mean? Ace asks slowly. I mean, she basically kept you around until you're born. If she really didn't want you to be born, she could simply abort you. But here you are, alive and healthy. I pointed out, and not only that. Somehow, Gramps managed to locate you and adopted you as his own grandkid, and kept you alive for all these years, even though you're the only child of his, no, the world's biggest enemy at the time. Even though his method of taking care of a child is mediocre at best and borderline abusive, he keeps his promise. I don't know about you, but those two seem to love you enough to keep you alive. Not to mention, Sabo and Luffy are practically glued to you. They'll be devastated if you die. And of course, me too. I say softly before rubbing his back in assurance. Just remember that you're not alone. You have Luffy, Sabo, Gramps, Date and family, and me. We're all just one, small dysfunctional family, but family is family. So try not to think about it. The sea is vast, someday and somewhere, I'm sure you will meet those you can call family, and a place to go home to. I tell him as I give him a tight hug, you can't change the past, but you can change the future. Live and laugh on, until you think you've lived and laughed enough. I finished. For a moment, Ace is too stunned to reply and flinches when I hug him, but then he hugs me back tightly and buries his face into the top of my head. Oh, he smells like meat in the sun. Oh, Ace. I didn't. I turn and see Sabo is entering the room and suddenly stops, glancing at both of us back and forth. Ace and I blink for a moment before Luffy barges in too. Oh Ace. I didn't know that Roger is your dad. Luffy exclaims as Flame and Takao jumps off his head and approaches me. I let the hug go as I crouched down to pick both of them into my arms before looking back to the other two. Sabo, who's already shocked when he saw us, gets pale and quickly covers Luffy's eyes before turning back to us with an awkward smile. We're sorry for the intrusion, you can continue when we're out. Bye, Sabo says quickly and pushes Luffy along with him outside. I just stare dumbly as Ace immediately runs outside with a flushed face. And soon enough, yelling and thrashing can be heard from below. I walk outside and peek down, watching the trio yelling and wrestling with each other. I just watch in amusement before turning to Flame and Takao who sit down next to me. Should we sleep earlier? I ask before I walk back inside with the babies, as I vaguely hear the boys below are still yelling at each other. We're brothers. Brothers don't lie to each other, right? Yeah, tell us. Shut up. I lay down on my mattress and pull up my blanket over me while listening to the boys down below still arguing. Yep, definitely a normal night. Disclaimer: this story do not belong to me. The author is The Chronicle by ThiefofStealth. Chapter 14 Updated. It's been a whole week since I followed Luffy to Tron with Naguri. I would be lying if I say I didn't miss the other two boys, but I'm not gonna say it out loud. That would be embarrassing. For the whole week, Luffy and I are basically just cutting down trees and I think it's pretty pointless. But Luffy can throw his punch into a straight line now, and my arm strengths are stronger, so suppose it's not that pointless. We eventually meet Ace and Sabo again when we're cutting down a tree and they both almost get turned into pancakes, but thankfully they manage to run off to the side. We talk for a bit before we decide to go back at Naguri's place, in the corner of Great Terminal's coastline. I sit down next to a target spot that was built by me and Luffy while Luffy is about to show Sabo his development in the past week. Sabo doesn't seem impressed by the target's drawing and just sweat drops at it. Luffy drew it. I already told him that I'll do it, but he refused and drew it himself. And you can see the result. I tell him in amusement. Luffy has almost zero skill in drawing. Sabo agrees before Luffy calls for him and we turn to look at him as he giggles. I'm gonna show you the result of my training. Luffy announces before he starts rotating his arms around. Here we go, Gomu Gomu no, pistol. And he delivers the punch in a straight line. Sabo is pretty impressed, but then realizes that it misses the target and punches Naguri instead before it retracts back and gives Luffy the recoil. Seeing that, Sabo laughs. That's awesome. A week ago you could barely punch in a straight line or even that far. Sabo praises Luffy, who seems proud of himself. That's great and all, but you still miss the target, Luffy. I tell him, if you can't land the punch on the target, that's still bad. I know, but soon I'll be able to hit the target. Just you see, Luffy exclaims out as the three of us walk to Naguri and Ace are, with the babies following behind me. Then what if Roger has a child? We all turn to look at Ace and Naguri. Seemingly heavy conversation is currently happening. Then Naguri grins, then it would be hard to be his child. He answers, even if they chose to live a normal life or be a pirate, they will be haunted by their father's name. It must be very difficult to be accepted by them. If I was them, I would not be a pirate, because their father's name would ruin their life until the end. That apparently ticks Ace off. Would ruin their life. Stop bullshitting. You don't know anything. Ace snaps. Whoa, when did he learn that language? Oh wait, it's probably me. Why don't you fight me, old man? And he immediately jumps to attack Naguri. I just watch the fight silently while Sabo and Luffy call for his name. Of course, Ace stands no chance against a veteran and Naguri easily beats him. Ace seems ready for whatever Naguri is going to do to him, but he just told us to follow him. So we did. We walked through a small bay, following the old man along until the end of the bay. And at the end of it, stands a half-finished ship. Naguri basically told the older boys to help him out too. Ace protests first, but Naguri points out that he said that he can do whatever he wants to him, so he relents. And then Sabo too, but the old man simply says that he's here, so might as well help along, in which Sabo screams out that it doesn't make sense. But Naguri basically bribes him with tips on how to beat the tiger, and Sabo immediately relents. Let me ask you one thing. Ace says, what are you going to do with that ship? Of course I'll go out to the sea to find my separated crews. He replies with a puff of smoke from his pipe and a grin. To the sea? Sabo asks in surprise. What, you think an old man like me can't go out to the sea? The old man asks. Well, I didn't say that, but it doesn't matter how long it will take to reach your dream. I don't care what people will say, but I have decided. I'll go out to sea. Naguri announces before pointing his hammer at us. You have a problem with that? Luffy laughs. Nope. Sabo laughs nervously. What an incredible old man. Ace is walking away, making Sabo turn back and call for his name. Promises are promises. I will help you. And I'll be the one who beat you tomorrow. Ace says, before he continues on walking away, and we're just watching him in amusement. And then for the next few months, we've been helping Naguri to cut down trees and bringing them back to the bay. Sometimes in the evening, Naguri teaches us about things in the pirating world, but the boys are obviously not interested and sleep along while I'm taking notes. There are times where the guys are all fighting over deer meat that I and the babies caught. And I just laugh watching them before eating my portion. Spring is coming, but spring in Great Terminal comes late. Finally, I can see sakura trees. It is beautiful, like in the anime. Too bad we're not having Hanami, but maybe someday in the future. Not only that, but Takao and Flame are almost fully grown up. Takao is bigger and finally learned how to fly, and Flame also gets bigger and less pup-like. And I can ride on Flame's back. But only for a few minutes, because then he falls flat to his stomach, but that's okay. Despite helping Naguri with his ship, sometimes we just play around while still helping him up. And right now, we're sitting under a sakura tree and just admiring it, before I decide to have my fun on Luffy. Did you know, Luffy? People in the old days said that the sakura trees were originally pure white as snow, but it eventually changed color because they're absorbing blood. I start my tale with a grin. The rubber boy quickly turns his head to look at me with a horrified expression. I see that the older boys also turn to look at me, but both of them seem amused by my attempt. So I look straight into Luffy's owlish eyes and continue. They said that when they dug the sakura trees, they found mummified corpses under the trees, with the roots curling over it greedily. I move closer to his face and grab on his shoulders so he's not backing away. His expression changes into terrified one, which makes this even more interesting and amusing, so I continue on with a wicked grin and wide eyes. Apparently, the sakura trees were drinking their blood, which in turn changed their petals into pinkish color, thanks to the blood they got from the corpses. And there is also an old myth, that there is a clan of assassins called Sakurazukamori. They killed their victims before burying them underneath the sakura trees. I pause for a moment for dramatic effect while I can see that the older boys are trying their best to hold their laughs. Looking back at Luffy, he looks even more terrified and pale than before, so I decide to finish it, and the sakura trees feed their power to Sakurazukamori in return. I scream out and do the evil laugh loudly, making Luffy to screech out in horror with a completely pale face. And then I throw away the facade and back to my poker face, which throws Luffy off a bit as we stare at each other for a few moments before he turns robotically to the sakura tree behind him and screams out in fright, which makes me snort and laugh out loud, with the older boys following suit. After a whole 5 minutes of laughing, I tell Luffy that it's just a myth, which makes him yell out at me angrily. I just laugh it off, but Luffy doesn't let me go and starts chasing me in rage, which in turn makes me run off from him while laughing my ass off. Ace and Sabo just laugh along while watching Luffy chasing me around, circling the tree for 5 minutes. Spring comes and goes, and now it's summer. And we're in the middle of SS. Ace and Sabo against each other, while I'm against Luffy. Both Takao and Flame are sitting on the side, near Naguri who just watches us. Luffy throws his rubbery punches, but they're still relatively easy to dodge as most are straight lines that keep on missing its targets. As I step aside to dodge his punch, apparently the punch hits Naguri instead and I wince in sympathy before grabbing Luffy's stretching arm as it returns to its owner and delivers a kick on his face, resulting in my victory. Sheesh Luffy, you need to come up with a way to counterattack if someone grabs your stretched limbs to their advantage. I tell him with my hands on my hips. Damn it, it's not good enough. One more time, Luffy exclaims out as he hops back on his feet. No can do, you already fought 100 times. Try again tomorrow. I reply in amusement as I pat his head and he pouts. Fuck, he's so cute. Behind us, Naguri sighs while still rubbing on his punched cheek. You guys are only thinking about becoming stronger, but do you think that's enough? He asks and the boys widen their eyes in confusion. What do you mean? The strongest of the three of us will be the captain, while Aris here is just a tagalong. So what do you mean by that? Sabo asks back, his brows furrowing down. I slap the back of his head for that comment of me being a tagalong. That's right, there is only one of us that can beat the giant tiger. Luffy exclaims out. The The giant tiger, huh? Well, it is true that a captain must be strong, but there is something that's more important. Naguri says, and the boys widen their eyes in confusion. Something more important? Sabo asks. Yes, that thing is, Naguri starts and the boys are looking at him in anticipation and seriously, I forgot. He eventually says before he laughs, making Sabo and Luffy boo him for that. I just laugh while Ace stares at him with a blank expression. A few days later in the morning, we all gathered at the bay to watch Naguri lowering the ship into the sea. Finally the ship is done. Thank you all. Without your help, this ship wouldn't be done this fast. I really appreciate it, Naguri says in gratitude as he bows down at us for a bit. It's okay Naguri. We hope you can find your cruise. I tell him with a grin. Oi Naguri, are you really going to set sail now? Sabo asks. Naguri nods. Yeah, but before that, I want to see your training results. Go and hunt that giant tiger now, he says, and the boys immediately cheer out. Really? I will definitely win and ends this stupid training. The one's gonna kill it is me. I won't lose too. I just smile fondly at their antics. Well, then the rest of us will watch you guys from the cliff. Good luck guys. I cheer on them and they nod with a big grin. When we finally arrive at the place, I can see that they finally arrive in front of the jungle with their weapons in hand. Though Luffy didn't bring any, considering he prefers to use his fists, same with me. After a few moments, I finally hear a loud growl and cracking trees, birds flying away from the forest. It's here, I say softly as I keep my eyes on the scene. The giant tiger is coming, slowly approaching the boys. There it is, Naguri says as he also watches the scene carefully. His hammer is ready in his hands to intersect if things go bad. Flame and Takao are watching enthusiastically as Flame keeps on barking while Takao lets out bird cries. The tiger below snarls loudly, but neither of us flinches as Ace suddenly goes first to attack the tiger, but fails miserably as the tiger easily slaps him away. Same goes with Sabo. And then the tiger goes after Luffy, who's terrified but still tries to deliver a punch. He managed to punch the tiger, but it easily bounces off and it recoils on Luffy. When the tiger finally reaches Luffy and slams its huge paw to Luffy, I can see that Ace and Sabo stop it from getting Luffy. Oh, how interesting, Naguri comments with a grin, eyes not pulling away from the fight. Eventually the three of them escape from the huge paw, crushing them before they all go separate ways. It seems like Sabo serves as bait while Ace and Luffy go into the forest. I can see Luffy is stretching his arms as he walks back, making himself a slingshot while Ace stands in front of him as the stone, before Luffy slings him off to the tiger. And just like that, Ace gives it one high-speed attack and the tiger is down. Seeing that, the boys let out a cheer and I follow suit before I slide down the cliff to approach them. Baris, you see that? We won, Luffy exclaims out with a huge grin, bouncing on his feet. Yeah, you guys are awesome, I reply with a huge grin before glancing at the said unconscious tiger with wide, unblinking eyes. Now all we need to do is kill it and skin it for money. I say darkly with a chuckle, but I get a slap on the back of my head for that. Stop your weird tendencies, Ace huffs and crosses his arms. I just booed while rubbing the back of my head. Come on, imagine how much money it will give us. I point it out with a pout, which gives me another hit on the head by Ace. Don't be an idiot, we're here to defeat it, not kill it for dinner, Ace says with a surprisingly pacifistic reply. Wow, I can't believe Ace is becoming a pacifist. Is winter coming earlier? I tease him with a cat smile, which ticks him off and the rest of us just laugh at him. After all of those, we all go back to the bay to watch him set sail. We wave our hands as he sets sail into the sunset. He waves back at us before he looks forward as his ship gets further. Well, he finally set sail, Sabo says proudly, putting his hands on his hips. Yeah, I hope he meets his crewmates. I nod with a grin as I put my crossed arms behind my head, so considering we're not eating tiger meat tonight, how about we eat dinner from High Town? I ask the boys with a devious grin, in which they returned it and we quickly off to the town with our pipe in hand. After we all ate and dashed, we stole some stuff too. The boys grabbed the food while I stole wallets and other valuable stuff from the nobles and some normal people. We quickly ran off before the cops got us, snickering along the way until they lost us in the forest. Once we make sure that they lost us, we go back to our hideout and plop down on the floor with our earnings, before laughing out happily. So how many you got, Baris? Sabo asks as I start counting the money from the wallets. I may be bad at math, but I'm pretty good at counting money. Let's see, probably around 1,000,000 berries. How about you guys? This time, I turn to ask them. We got some fruits and meat, and we found a weird fruit with weird curls here, Ace says as he takes out a golden yellow colored fruit that kinda shaped like a mango with swirls. I stare at it for a moment before widening my eyes and snatch it to have a better look. It's a devil fruit, I mutter, taking the boys and the pet's attention. Devil fruit? You mean the weird fruit that gave you weird power like Luffy? Ace asks, ignoring Luffy's protests. I nod and stand up, walking toward the self-made shelves for Sabo and mine books and grab the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia. We stole most of the books we got from the High Town, while some we got from Makino as gifts. I flip the pages while still holding the fruit until I stop on a certain page. I glance back at the fruit before going back to the page and nod before turning back to the boys. Guys, look at this. I call all of them and they come circling the book in the middle, trying to see the picture on the page. I point at the picture that looks similar to the fruit in my hand. It's called, Tori Tori no Mi, model, Garuda, a mythical zone type, wait, a mythical devil fruit. The one of the rarest devil fruits of all. Even the rare Logia type. Sabo exclaims loudly in amazement, that's amazing. I know right, I never thought to see one, especially in the 4 blues, and it's a mythical one. I grin as my eyes transform into berry signs. Also, it was said that devil fruits sell pretty high in black market. Should we sell it or should we keep it? I ask with a smile. Baris, we can see your greed. Sabo comments with a sweat drop. Black market, what's that? Luffy asks curiously and innocently. It's a market that sells all kinds of illegal things, like, people as slaves. I reply, and that shocks Luffy, but not everything is illegal. Some are just rare things, like devil fruits. I quickly fixed my mistake. But how are we going to sell it? Ace asks, and everyone looks at me expectantly while I scratch my cheek nervously and look at everywhere but them. That's a good question that I don't know the answer for. I reply with a sheepish grin and everyone face fault. Then don't suggest it. Ace yells out, gritting his teeth while I just laugh sheepishly. Well, let's just sleep for today. We'll think about what to do with the fruit later. I quickly change the topic as I pull my mattress and lay down. Don't change the subject. But in the end, we all went to sleep, and by the morning, I was woken up by a heavy thing landing on my face. I groan as I groggily push the thing away, before realizing that it's a navy blue wing that's as big as my body height. Pushing myself up, I start to realize who the owner of the wing is. There lay Takao, soundlessly sleeping with his new appearance. His new form makes him look like a humanoid, huge bird. The closest thing I could think of is Pell when he's in his humanoid bird form, but blue-feathered. And he's very muscled and naked, but thankfully his whole body is covered in feathers, so all is well. Takao-chan, wake up. Look at your body now. I say in a slightly annoyed look. When he doesn't wake up, I slap his head hard and he immediately tries to sit up, but maybe because he's not used to his body being bigger, he flails around and slaps his wings to the boys while I block it. The boys are waking up while Takao finally realizes his transformation, that his eyes look like they're about to fall off the sockets. What is THIIIIIIIS? And that sudden yell actually makes the boys inflame immediately wide awake while I'm just impressed by how expressive Takao is now. Whoa, awesome, Takao can talk too. Woo happen. Sabo slurs as he sits up and starts looking around before realizing an unfamiliar sight. Takao ate the DF and now he's panicking. I explain with a chuckle while pointing at the panicking Takao. He's acting like a headless chicken. I see that Ace is too stunned to say anything as he's watching Takao scrambling around while Luffy and Flame are back asleep and snoring loudly. I guess now we have 2 DF users to train. But I'm still sleepy, so let's deal with it later after I take another nap. I continue and plop back on my mattress, slowly drifting back asleep. Unfortunately, Ace yells at me to wake up and hits my head, which literally hits me awake, and I sit up to yell back at him. In the end, both of us jump and start to fight each other. Takao has finally gotten over his shock, so both him and Sabo are just watching us with a sweat drop, while both Luffy and Flame are fast asleep. What a lovely start of the day. Chapter 15, updated. Everything is going well for a while, but eventually it will come to an end. It was after a storm, and our hideout needed some repair, so we went down into the trash heap to gather up materials, only for Blue Jam and his crew to get us all and revealed that it was all Sabo's jerkass of a dad that planned it all. No, give Sabo back, you bastard. I yell as I struggle from the pirate's grip, but it only tightens. Give Sabo back, Blue Jam. Luffy yells as he also tries to struggle away. What do you mean by, give Sabo back? Sabo is my son. It's the children's responsibility to obey their parents' orders. How dare you brainwash him to run away from his home? The asshole noble scoffs. Are you targeting my fortune, you scum? He accuses. What the fuck did you say, you rotten noble? I snap at him angrily, and that gives me a throwdown to the uneven ground. The sharp parts of the trash cut my face and bleed out, making some blood splatters on the noble's cheek. Hey pirate, be careful to hit these children. I got dirtied by the trash mountain children's blood. Better clean off the germs. The noble says as he wipes off my blood using a handkerchief. Baris. Both Ace and Luffy call out, while Sabo looks grim and grits his teeth. Fuck, I mutter as I try to get up, blood flowing down my face as I look up into Sabo's eyes, silently telling him to not say anything. But Sabo clenches his eyes closed. Stop it, Dad. I did not get brainwashed by them at all. I left by my own decision. Sabo tries to argue, but the noble wants to hear no more. Shut your mouth. He yells at Sabo before turning to Blue Jam. I leave the rest to you, pirates. He says, and Blue Jam bows a bit at him. Don't worry, sir. We already got your payments. We will beat these children so they won't get close to your son anymore. Blue Jam says with a scheming smile. You're Son, Sabo is no son of some rotten noble like you. I yell at the noble and glare at him, who seems even more annoyed and bored by my outburst. Just you wait, Outlook the Third. I will make you regret calling Sabo your son, or even regretting the fact that you're alive. I will hunt you down until the end of time. I threaten with a snarl. That gets a glare back from the said noble, and I get another shove of face into the ground. Stop it, Blue Jam. Father, stop it. I understand, Sabo quickly says in panic, and the noble turns to look at him. What did you understand, Sabo? The noble asks slowly. Don't do it, Sabo. Sabo. Sabo grits his teeth as he looks down, fists clenching so hard that his knuckles turn white. I'll do anything you say. And live a life that you say. But please, don't hurt these three. Sabo pleads, please, they're my precious brothers. I grit my teeth together as the noble turns around to face Sabo. Well then, if you say so. Now let's go home, Sabo. He says, and just like that, he, the town guards and Sabo walk away from us. Stop it, Sabo. Don't leave us. I yell and push myself up. Don't leave, Sabo. Run. We're gonna be alright. We promised that we're gonna be free, right? Ace yells along as he also pushes himself up to his feet. Do you want it to end like this? Sabo. But none of them even stop or turn to look at us. I punch the ground as frustrated tears start to well up in my eyes. Ace is cursing loudly while Luffy is crying his eyes out and calling for Sabo. Damn it all. I wish I'm stronger. I'm too naive to think that I'm strong enough. But unlike them, I have one other plan. Takao. I call out, loud enough for Takao in the woods to hear my order. I leave Sabo to you. Keep an eye on him from the distance. And stay hidden. And as Blue Jam's crew takes us to his ship, I manage to spot a blur of blue flying to the town direction. My head is pounding and I feel lightheaded, but I try to shake it off. My vision starts to get blurry and I start to wheeze not even halfway to our destination, but I ignore it all as my mind drifts off back a few hours ago. XXX. I sneezed and coughed a few times after the storm started to calm down. And thanks to that stupid storm, I was drenched and the strong wind made me feel cold and I sneezed again. You okay, Baris? You don't look so good. Sabo pointed out as he approached me, but I just shook my head. I'm fine. It's just a little cold, so don't worry about it. I simply said as I waved a hand at him. You sure? Your face is getting redder, you know. He points out again. I'll be fine. Nothing that a good meal and a nice sleep can't fix. I shrugged it off. He was about to say something back, but he changed his mind and turned to the other two. Well, because of that storm, our hideout needs repairing. We should get materials to repair it. Sabo said. Yeah, we should. Ace replied as he looked at the condition of their home. We should look for a telescope. Luffy said excitedly. Don't you mean binoculars, Master Luffy? Takao pointed out. Yeah, that's what I said. Luffy replied. Well, what are you guys waiting for? Let's go then. I exclaimed as I ran out with Flame and Takao. Last wonder will do laundry. Wait for me. XXX. Don't tell me I got sick from that. I just sigh before coughing as the boys are yelling at Blue Jam before his crew let the rope that binds us go. Luffy is snarling at them while Ace is staring cautiously at Blue Jam and his crew. I feel lightheaded when I try to stand up, so I stay on the ground as I sneeze and cough. That worries the boys as they quickly back to their knees to check up on me, but I quickly wave them off. I'm fine. I'm a little lightheaded, that's all. Don't worry about me, I assure them as I push myself up again and try my best to stay steady. The boys are looking at me with worry before we look at Blue Jam. He's talking things to us and the boys are shouting things, but I can't really pay attention because it already takes a lot from me just standing up and breathing. I can feel that my temperature is rising too. Am I really that sick? I hope not. Oh wait, this is my first time getting sick here and I don't think I got myself a flu vaccine here yet. Oh no, Lady Fate is literally offering me to death this time. But still, I stand tall. Blue Jam tells us to bring some boxes to put around Gray Terminal. Luffy protests, but Ace accepts it, so now we're bringing boxes here and there. I'm bringing one box around while the boys bring two, with Flame sticking to my side and whining each time he sees my face, which starts to flush and is breathing heavily. The boys are also getting worried, but I shrug it off and decide to push through to do the job. After we finished, we reached home safely. But as we arrived inside, my legs eventually gave in and collapsed on the floor. I can feel approaching footsteps and the boys in Flame's panicked atmosphere. I can't take in whatever they're saying and my vision darkens when I feel familiar hands are on me. XXX. What should we do, Ace? Baris is sick and she's not waking up. Luffy exclaims as he panics. Shut up, will you? I'm searching for the medicine she bought a week ago. Ace snaps as he rummages through Aris' satchel, searching for the said medicine. Sure, he made fun of her when she did it, but now he's glad she was prepared for things like this. The sudden collapse from their brother is panicking them, and now totally in dismay. Luffy is covering her with all of their blankets, while Flame stays by his master's side and heats his temperature up to keep her warm. The heavy breathings and hoarse coughs from Aris snap them out. She's muttering things with her hoarse throat. Shabo, she mutters weakly before coughing loudly. As he's the nearest one of the two, Luffy holds his hand out to her forehead, only to immediately pull it back with a yelp and blows on his palm. Hot. Ace, this is bad. Eris feels really hot. What should we do? Luffy exclaims, eyes start to get glassy. Hot. That's bad. She has a fever. Luffy, hurry and grab some water. Hurry. Ace orders and Luffy immediately does what he was told. Ace approaches Eris and notices that she's breathing heavily and hoarse before she coughs loudly. Damn it, Eris. First Sabo, now you. Why the hell our day today is getting worse with your sudden collapse? Ace curses softly as he grits his teeth together in frustration. Ace, I got the water. What should we do now? Luffy asks as he enters with a basin of water in his hands. Put it down to her and keep an eye on her. I'm going to find a cloth to compress her. Ace replies as he stands up and starts to search for said cloth. He eventually found the said cloth handkerchief in Eris' satchel and ran to the younger ones, dipping the cloth into the water and squeezing out excessive water and using it to clean the wounds on her face from this afternoon. He patches the wounds up and dips the cloth back into the water, squeezing out the water, and places it on her forehead after brushing her hair out from her face. Ace and Luffy can only watch Eris' face, which is flushing from her sudden sickness. They can't sleep, so they watch over her that night until the sun rises, but she still has a high fever and her breathing is still hoarse. They want to stay and watch for her, but Flame just barks at them to do their job from Blue Jam while he watches over his master. You better get well after we got back, Eris. Ace thinks before he walks out from their hideout together with Luffy. XXX. I woke up with a bad feeling. I sit up slowly and something falls off from my forehead as I cough a little. I'm still a bit dizzy and lightheaded, and pretty sure my fever is still around, but something doesn't feel right and I woke up. Flame is laying by my side and whines at me, seemingly worried for me. I'm okay, Flame. Don't worry about me, we need to go and search for Luffy and Ace right now. I have a bad feeling, I croak as I throw the blankets off of me and stand up slowly, using my pipe that's conveniently beside me to help. I glance at the window. The sky is getting dark and the sun is setting by the horizon. I see a bottle of fever syrup and a glass of water on a box next to me, so I decide to down those before grabbing my satchel, rummaging through it and finding what I was looking for, a small folding knife. I try my best to quickly get changed into a shirt and shorts, tying my hair into a bun and putting the knife into my pocket. I gently fiddle with the heart locket I always have on me and close my eyes, taking a deep breath and letting it out before slowly walking to the exit, but Flame is blocking the way. Come on Flame, go away or follow me. I have to go save those two now. They're in danger. I growl and cough a bit, but Flame isn't budging. He doesn't need the ability to talk to tell me that I need to rest. Fucking hell, Flame. I'm serious, don't be stubborn. I snap at him, slamming my pipe down. He's not budging, but he eventually relents and turns his back to me before glancing back at me, giving me some kind of signal to ride him. I give him a disbelief look before smiling weakly and hopping on, holding tight before he runs off the room and to the gray terminal. As we get nearer, I see that the whole place is in the sea of flames. Hot sea of scarlet and the unbelievable heat that even travels into the edge of the forest makes me widen my eyes, but that didn't stop me from ordering Flame to run when Blue Jam's ship is. When we're inside, I immediately see Ace and Luffy, tied up on a pole and Ace is trying to cut the ropes off. Ace, Luffy, I call out before coughing. I swear, talking in such a high volume when you're sick and surrounded by fire and smoke is totally giving your throat a hard job. The boys turn and widen their eyes, seeing me, Eris. I hop off and wobble a bit, but I run to them and take out my knife to cut the ropes off. After a few moments, the ropes are off and the four of us quickly run out from there. And as if on cue, the place suddenly crumbles down and gets destroyed. What the hell are you doing here? You're still sick. Ace snaps at me. I can't sleep if you guys are in danger. I reply simply and lean on Flame with a groan. All this heat and my sickness are making my vision blurring, but I shake it off. Come on, we better search for a way out before we turned into grilled steaks. I tell them before coughing. We start to run around, searching for a way out, but unfortunately the heat is too much for me and I almost passed out again, but I keep reminding myself that the boys' lives are on edge here. I can't get myself to lose focus or get careless. Eventually we stop for a moment, and I notice that a burning debris is about to fall onto Ace. I quickly push him out and the debris falls on me instead, burning the back of my right shoulder. I screech out in pain as the seething, hot cold pain branding me with burning embers. Eris. The boys yell while Flame quickly kicks the debris off of me and whines at me. Fuck, that hurts like a bitch. I bet it's gonna leave a scar. I'm okay, I mutter and cough again. I can't breathe properly with all these smokes. God fucking damn it. Okay, you say. Damn it, Eris. You're sick and you almost died because of that debris that fell on you. Ace yells at me, stop acting like you're strong, damn it. Then what should I do? Staying in our hideout while Sabo and you two are fighting over our lives. Exclamation mark. I told you I'm gonna protect you guys no matter what. Either I'm sick or not. I shout back in frustration, I'm sick of being made fun of. I'm sick of everyone telling me I'm useless. I'm sick of everyone calling me a burden. I'm sick of my parents telling me I should obey because they're my parents. I'm sick of my sister telling me to do things because I'll look good in the eyes of others. I'm sick of everyone restricting me for doing what I want. I yell at him before coughing loudly. Ace is silent for a moment before sighing and replies, sorry. I'm just worried. I just shake my head and hop on Flame's back, flinching and hissing at the burning pain on my shoulder. "It's okay. Let's just go and find a way out." I croak out and cough again. The boys nod and we run off again. Luffy was complaining along the way and got yelled at by Ace, making him say the reverse thing he said before. My vision is getting spotty and I start to slip off Flame's back before finally slipping off completely and landing on the ground. Eris. The whole thing is a blur to me. I can only make out some of the conversation before I was put on a familiar back. I grip on his shirt as hard as I can so I won't slip off as Ace starts to run again, with Luffy and Flame in tow. But they suddenly stop and I can feel the presence of people surrounding us. I let myself off of Ace and landed on the ground, trying to push myself up to no avail. I don't have the energy to do it, but I manage to glance up to see Luffy and Ace are being held by Blue Jam pirates, while Flame is being held down. They're shouting at each other before I see Luffy bites the pirate that held him, making him let him go and attacks Luffy with his sword. Luffy tries to block, but the sword cuts through the pipe and gets Luffy. "Luffy!" Ace yells out, but the pirate ignores him as he braces to stab Luffy, who's crying and rolling around in pain. Seeing that, I see red as Ace yells out in desperation. "Don't touch Luffy." I feel some kind of a shockwave from Ace while I feel a burst of strength from myself. I see that the pirates other than Blue Jam fell unconscious, making him stare in shock and confusion before he grabs Ace that runs to check on Luffy and stomps on him. "Don't touch Ace." I yell out as I use that inner strength to push myself up, readying my knife and jumping into Blue Jam. I plunge the knife into his thigh, and he screeches out in pain as the energy immediately escapes me that I collapse back onto the ground. "You little bitch," is what I manage to hear before a click. I close my eyes and brace myself for a sharp pain, but as a bang is heard, I feel no pain. "Dayton." I hear Ace and Luffy call out. "Oh, Dayton's here." I can't say anything as my sickness comes back to me and I'm wheezing for clean air until someone holds me up, quickly recognizing it as Magra. "Boss, this is bad. Eris has a high fever and a nasty burn," he announces urgently. "What? Then why the hell is she here?" Dayton yells back. She's saying things to Blue Jam, maybe before exclaiming to run away, but Ace is still there, not moving an inch. "And no, Ace." I call for him, but it's too low for him to hear. I reach my hand out, but his blurry figure gets smaller and further away, and I can't do anything to drag him back. I hate this frustration of not having control. I hate being weak. I need to get stronger. Stronger and stronger, so I can keep those I care about safe from this world. I need more power. ... Opening parenthesis closing parenthesis. Chapter 16 updated. Slowly, I open my eyes. I groan a bit as if I just got run over by a truck and my throat feels like it just got cleaned up by sandpaper, but the bright light and a very familiar ceiling wakes me up more. Oh, I'm back at the shack. I turn to see that Luffy is sleeping beside me, his head and face got bandaged up because of that one pirate that's about to kill him. I push myself to sit and wince at the pain on my shoulder. I see that the other bandits are all sleeping around us, but I notice the uneasy lines on their faces and the bags under their eyes. Despite the pain from the burn, my fever is already down and I'm super glad that I didn't die for being unvaccinated. That would have been an idiotic death. I'm gonna make Makino take me to Dr. Peak to vaccinate me when she visits in the future. Eris. I hear Luffy calls and I turn to look at him, giving him a smile. "Good morning, Luffy." I greet him and yelp in pain when he suddenly lunges at me while crying. "Ares." He cries out while hugging me tight. I wince a bit, but I return the hug and rub on his back. There, I'm here, Luffy. See, I told you I'll be fine. I assure him as I gently pat his head, being mindful of his injury. Hearing the cries, the bandits around us slowly stir awake and quickly gather up around us, seemingly relieved that I'm finally awake. After a while, Luffy finally pulls away and wipes his snot and tears away. I gently pet his head as he holds my hand tight instead. I return the grip. "I'm glad you're okay, Luffy." I finally say with a smile. Me too," he replies with relieved tears. I turn to the bandits and ask, "Where's Ace? And Dayton?" I can see everyone flinching at that and Luffy shakes his head. "They're not back yet," he answers softly. I put my hand on his cheek and gently push his stray bangs away from his face. "It's okay, Ace is strong. He'll come back no matter what, okay? And Dayton is too stubborn to die anyway, so don't worry so much, okay?" I comfort him with a weak smile. He just nods in return but still pretty down. Apparently I was unconscious for almost 4 days, much to my dismay because I missed 20 meals, 3 meal times and 2 snack times, and I haven't taken a bath for 4 days too. I bet I smell like shit and smoke. And so the first thing I do after I'm well enough is take a deep, clean scrub. Although what surprised me is how fast the burn injury healed. It only left pinkish, burned scar behind and no pain behind. I had burned myself many years ago, and while yes, it's not a large or bad one, it will still take some time to heal. Then again, I'm not complaining. It must be the weird physiology of the One Piece world. Luffy also starts to get well enough to run around and eat as fast as he could, while Flame is also doing well. He's not that injured, only minor burned fur. And of course, Luffy keeps on trying to leave to search for Ace and Dayton, but the bandits stop him every time. And while they're busy, I decide to sneak out to our hideout. I need to check on the bullshit ceremony. So I quickly changed into a set of clothes I stole a month ago. It's basically a lowly type of dress, a white dress with frills, laces, and ribbons, and thick-heeled boots. I tie my hair into twin tails with black ribbon. Once I'm done, I quickly make my way into the ceremony. Although sometimes I stop for a moment to scratch my itchy body, thanks for the laces on the dress. I'm allergic to stuff like this, but I need to behave, so I try my best to endure it. Finally, I arrived at the ceremony. It's filled with people, cheering and full of joy as if they didn't just burn living beings days before. It's sickening, but I have other things to focus on. It's pretty easy to blend in the situation. Not only am I short and practically invisible, everyone is too busy focusing on the incoming Rotten World Noble. But because I'm short, I decide to stand on the roof so I get a better view of the event, but also trying to make myself invisible from the cops that are scattered around. Minutes of waiting, I finally spotted a small speck on the horizon. It's a small boat with crossed S black flag and a familiar navy blue colored bird flying around. I quickly recognized it as Sabo's and the bird as Takao. But before I can go to them, the cops spot me and I curse as I quickly jump off and run away. I run as fast as I can and into the alleyway, before I turn and jump at attacking the cops down with my pipe. To be honest, they're surprisingly weak. I just attack their footings and then they crumble down and whine about how their bones are cracked. Sounds fake, but I did hear something cracked, but whatever. Weak. I mock them with a bored look before I run off again, this time to the harbor. But when I arrive, I see that the Celestial Dragon's ship is approaching and Sabo's boat is on fire. I curse loudly, but I restrain myself from jumping into the water. It's too far, and I won't ever make it, and especially not in this child-sized body. Sabo. I scream out. I don't know if he or Takao can hear me, but before I can call him again, another explosion hits the boat. I can't scream, or even move as I watch the boat slowly swallowed by fire and the sea, the screaming and the panicked murmurs in the background slowly muffling away. I know this is gonna happen, but what if he didn't survive? What if Takao didn't survive either? What if? The pipe in my hand slips off, letting it clank to the ground as I fall to my knees. There she is. Catch her. That loud order breaks me out from my stupor. I quickly grab my pipe and run as fast as I can, not caring for the people around that blocks the path. Sometimes I stumble, but I keep on running into the forest as tears well up in my eyes. Sabo. I run and run, until I'm deep into the forest and the cops lost my tracks. I walk my way back to Dayton's shack slowly, too grim to even get changed other than letting my hair down as I enter the shack, only to be greeted by an upset Ace and Flame slamming Dogra down to the floor. It's not a joke or even a lie. It was so sudden, even I doubted my own eyes. I thought I was dreaming. Dogra exclaimed out. Luffy said Sabo's parents dragged him home and Takao went after him. We bandits knew well that there are places you don't ever want to go back to. If he's happy, he wouldn't have set sail. He wouldn't have raised a pirate flag and gone off to the sea alone, would he? I walk in with a dark look in my eyes, dried tear tracks are visible on my cheeks. The bandits, the boys, and Flame turn to look at me, both in relief and sadness but also confusion. Possibly from my weird, unusual attire. I know, I quickly say softly, my long bangs covering my right eye while the other is visible for them to see, which is full of unshed tears before slowly flowing down. I saw it too, with my own eyes. I choke out a sob as I run toward our old room, slamming the door and leaning on the door. I slide down and hug my knees as I cry silently. I can hear Ace shouting before Dayton, and Luffy is crying and sobbing loudly in the background, but I ignore it all. I keep crying my eyes out until an hour or so in the dark, and Luffy is still bawling his eyes out. I wipe off the tears as I tear off the clothes I'm wearing into my usual clothes before exiting the room and jump down, approaching Luffy. He's curling at the corner of the room, still sobbing and hiccuping softly. Luffy, I softly called him, but he didn't even stir or even notice me. I sit down next to him and hug him, making circles on his back and trying to soothe him down, or maybe calm enough for him to notice me. Slowly, he finally realizes and coughs for a few times, before returning the hug tight as he grips on my shirt. I'm sorry, that I couldn't save Sabo or even Takao. I'm so weak and useless that I can't even save my own brother and partner. I apologize as tears start to well up in my eyes again and slowly flow down. I grip on the back of his shirt as I cry into his shoulder, while he also did the same in my shoulder. We both just cry our eyes out for many more hours until we cry ourselves up to sleep. XXX. Have you cooled your head yet, Ace? Dayton asks as she approaches the boy, who got tied up onto the nearest tree to prevent himself getting killed. Ace didn't reply, but he's calm enough to not act out like last night. Dayton just stares at the boy before telling her men to let him go. How are Luffy and Aris? Ace asks calmly as he waits for the rope to get untied. They cried all night. They're sleeping now, she replies. Boss. Everyone turns to look at Dagra, who is holding out a letter and an injured, familiar navy-colored humanoid bird standing behind him. Who the hell are you? Dayton yells in alarm. Takao. Ace calls out as the humanoid bird approaches him with a limp, ignoring surprised looks from the bandits. It's been a while, Master Ace. How's Master Aris? Takao asks calmly, putting one of his taloned hands to his feathered chest while the other is put behind and bows a bit. Why, you're still alive. Ace returns in disbelief, glancing at Takao's bloodied and burned left side of his face. Takao nods and replies, yes, I am pretty much alive, Master Ace. I was ordered by Master Sabo to send his letter to you three when he set sail yesterday, but unfortunately his boat got shot down and I was caught in the explosion. Right now, he might have survived the attack, but I'm not so sure. I'm sorry I couldn't save him when it happened. Takao falls to his knees as he slowly transforms back into his usual bird form, seemingly in pain. Seeing that, Dayton snaps out of her shock and quickly orders the bandits to hurry up and treat Takao's injuries. Once Ace is freed, he takes the letter from Dagra and starts walking off into the forest, slowly reading the letter. To Ace, Luffy, and Aris. You guys weren't injured in the fire, were you? I'm worried, but I have faith in you guys. I'm sorry, but by the time you get this letter, I will be at the sea. So much has happened, so I'm setting sail before you. My destination is anywhere but this kingdom. There, I will get stronger and become a pirate. And when I'm a pirate, I'll be free, and someday we will meet again somewhere in the wide, free sea. I promise. By the way, Ace. I wonder which one of us is the eldest. 2 eldest brothers, 1 younger brother, and 1 younger brother that acts like she's the eldest. It's a pretty strange bond, if you ask me. But this bond is my greatest treasure. Luffy is a crybaby and a weakling rubber boy, while Aris is a distrustful enigma that fell from the sky with weird eyes. But they're still our little brothers, so take care of them, okay? Signed, Sabo. At the end of the letter, Ace is at the cliff and facing the sea where they all yelled their goals. Aris nicknamed the cliff after Ace, because he's always here when he needs to be alone. There's no one but him, the cliff, and the sea. Sabo's sea. Slowly but surely, his vision starts to blur, as tears are welling up in his eyes before eventually streaming down to his cheeks and he lets out a loud cry. For the first time in his 11 years of life, this is the first time Ace cries his eyes and heart out freely, while facing the sea that's named after his brother and best friend, Sabo. XXX. A few days after the news of Sabo's death, most of us are still grieving over him, but Luffy especially. He barely eats, which is something AD will never do, and looks so glum. I can't blame him either, considering I do the same. Right now, we both are at Ace Cliff. Luffy is laying on his stomach, his too big straw hat covering his head. I'm next to him, just hugging my knees and staring at the sea. Both Flame and Takao are around, but they stay behind to give us our space. Then I hear footsteps approaching us. I turn and see that it's Ace, who stops next to Luffy before giving him a hit on his head, making Luffy pull on his straw hat. How long are you gonna stay like that? Ace asks as he faces the sea. Luffy didn't say anything in return, but he's shaking. Our treasures we hide in Midway Forest are completely gone. Either Blue Jam's crew or the cops took it, but in the end, Sabo was never gonna use it anyway. Well, I don't care anymore. Ace informs as he crosses his arms, there's no meaning in owning something if you can't protect it. Ace, Luffy starts, I want to become stronger. More. I want to be stronger. So I can protect everything and no one's gonna die anymore. He declares out while crying. So please, Ace and Aris, don't die, okay? I just looked at him as Ace hit him again in the head. Don't be stupid. Instead of worrying about us, just take care of yourself. You're even still weaker than Aris. Ace replies with a huff, you better remember this, Luffy. I won't die, he exclaims out. How ironic, that he makes these promises but he broke it himself in the end. Sabo already asked me to, so I promise. I will never die. How could I die and leave a weak little brother like you with a weird little brother that fell from the sky with weird eyes? Okay, that weird and falling from the sky parts are unnecessary, but I'll let it slide this time. Also, what's with that eye part thing? I'm not smart, and I don't know what killed Sabo, but it must be the opposite of freedom. Sabo died before knowing the feeling of what freedom is, but we already shared drinks with Sabo and we're still alive. He points out as Luffy pushes himself up to sit up and hugs his knees, that's why Luffy, we must live a life without any regrets. Someday, we will set sail to the sea, and live with our own will. Become freer than anybody else. And we will face many kinds of enemies, including Gramps. Ace exclaims out, Sabo said that a noble will be official once they're 18, so we will set sail when we're 17, and we will be pirates. Pirates, gonna be freer than anybody else, I mutter and smile before turning to Luffy and put my arm around his shoulder, that's right, Luffy. We're gonna be freer than anybody else and live without any regrets. I tell him and grin at him, that's why you should wipe off your tears and snots from your face, K. He nods and wipes off his tears and snot using his shirt. We should become stronger and more courageous than anybody, so that we can protect everyone that's dear to us, and then we're gonna be freer than anybody. I tell them before pulling Luffy down so I can give him a noogie with a playful grin. I will become stronger. Stronger and stronger, so I can protect you guys from this cruel world. I will be your shadow, who will protect you from behind and will always follow your steps. No matter where you are, no matter when it will be, I will always watch your back. I declare my determination. Yes, I will definitely protect you guys, no matter what. XXX. Okay, so about that weird eyes part that Ace said. I asked him about it, and he just said it like it's the most obvious way in the world that I have weird eyes. I asked Luffy about it too, but he just fucking realized it when I asked him, and now he won't stop pointing it out to me and asking Emmy about it. I asked the other bandits too, and they too told me that I have weird eyes, but they're too scared of me to actually comment on it and thought that it's not that weird for someone to have unusual dark or lighter eye colors, so they never really comment on it. Dayton eventually relented and told me that I have demon eyes, which actually sounds awesome and cool. Makino visited, we told her about Sabo, and she was devastated mostly for us, and I asked her about it too, and she said that she knew about the eyes, but she didn't really comment on it because she didn't want to be rude, so I guess I have this weird eye color thing from the start then. And so, I decided to find it out myself, using Dayton's vanity mirror. I honestly don't know why, how, and where she gets it for all this time, but I don't really care. She probably has it for years already, but I don't really care either way because now I can finally see myself, after almost 2 years after being thrown into this world. Slowly inching to the side with my back facing the mirror, I take a deep breath and slowly let it out as I close my eyes. Okay, this is it, the big reveal of the very thing everyone is pointing it out just recently. Should I do the reveal slowly, or just rip the band-aid method? Not thinking much about it, I quickly turn around and open my eyes. And a pair of gold blood red dark maroon gradient irises with white pupil that is in the shape of 4 pointed star eyes stares back at me, and are attached on a familiar face with plump, reddish cheeks and nose, dark brown wavy hair that's sticking out everywhere. Oh, there's a leaf and sticks in my hair. Picking on the leaf and the sticks that stick, hey, to my hair, I walk closer to the mirror to see the eyes better. So, that's weird. I definitely remember I have had, apparently, normal dark brown eyes with black pupils, but I guess they changed after I somehow got thrown here. But how though? Transformation like this shouldn't really happen in such a short period of time. Unless something happened when I entered the sea after I fell from the sky. Wait, how did I know that I fell from the sky and into the sea? I ask myself out loud as the face on the mirror contorts into confusion. Feels weird to see a face that's both unfamiliar and familiar that's seemingly yours is expressing your emotion. And also I just realized that I definitely used glasses before because I'm as blind as a bat, and now somehow I can see without one. Not that I miss having glasses and being as blind as a bat, because being able to see leaves on trees without extra help is very amazing. Honestly, I should be worried and questioning about this more, but also having weird eyes is pretty cool. And I don't really have the brain power to think too much about this, so I'll just blame this to the weird physiology of this world that affected my being as an otherworlder. Shrugging nonchalantly, I turn and walk out to go back to where Luffy and Ace are, not realizing that my reflection stays in the mirror with the eyes following my movement and an eerie smile, before slowly rippling away from existence. Chapter 17, updated. It's been a month since that incident. The three of us are doing our SS as usual and we moved back into Dayton's house. Too many memories of Sabo, I suppose. But sometimes we go there to do our education session, or S for short. Yesterday, I took a visit to Gray Terminal, where the trash heap started to build up again. They're just repeating the same thing again after the event. I just watched the place with a dark look before going back into the forest, where Luffy and Ace are having their SS. Are my words wrong? You could only hold back big blows. Don't you dare insult my Gomu Gomu no mi. One day, I'm gonna make you cry. I sigh in exasperation as I rub my temple. They're arguing again, and it's only been a month after we made that vow. You're spoiling him too much, Sabo. Right, I told you I'm stronger than before. Right, Sabo. Both of them turn to look at a boulder, mistaking it as Sabo. They quickly realize what they did and suck their lips in embarrassment before Luffy walks away for a few steps and sighs heavily. Sabo was such a nice brother. He says with a pout. Ace did not like that. What did you say? So you said that I should be the one that dies. But before it can escalate further, I approach them and give them a hit on the head. That stops their arguments. That's enough. Stop this petty argument. I quickly say with a huff, I swear, I can't take my eyes off of you two for a hot minute without you two arguing on every little shits you came across. Both boys just humph and I can only sigh. Let's just go and hunt for dinner. I tell them and then they both immediately perk up. We hunt for dinner and we eat with the same ruckus, only someone is missing from the picture. I eat slowly as I watch the others fighting for their foods, with Takao and Flame also joining the mess. I'm not really in the mood, so I just eat a little. Days come and go, and after a particular argument, now the boys decide to live separately. They basically just build their own shacks right next to Dayton's. I stay in Dayton with my partners and keep my eyes on those two. Heck, even Dayton seems tired of these antics that she can only sigh heavily and keep on drinking. She'll be an alcoholic if it keeps on going. With Sabo gone, Ace is slowly being a jerk again. Ace and Luffy are gone hunting in the forest. I got left behind because I have other things to do, but I managed to catch up with them. But when I arrive, I see the huge bear from last winter standing menacingly in front of Luffy, and I spot Ace relaxing on a tree branch, just watching Luffy. I grit my teeth as I hold my curse when the bear lunges to attack Luffy, but I quickly push Luffy away from the range of the attack, letting the claws rip the flesh on my back instead, and the impact throws me a few meters away. I gasp for air as blood pools under me, but even the act of taking in air is incredibly painful. Fuck, it hurts Sithirtsith urts. Baris. The more blood I lose, the more I feel myself getting weaker and weaker. My senses are numbing down, even breathing has become a chore to do. Can't hear, vision blurring, breathing slowing, heartbeat. I try my best to stay awake, but it's getting harder and harder to do. I feel someone toting me up and I slowly recognize it as Luffy. From the vibration I feel from him, it seems like he's shouting things to someone else. Maybe it's Ace. Baris, you better not fall asleep. Don't you die on us, Baris. It's cold, so sleepy, comma. Opening parenthesis closing parenthesis. XXX. I wake up with a stiff body and throbbing back. My mouth is super dry and I'm in desperate need of water. I open and close my eyes, trying to adjust with the sight and the crusty feeling before slowly taking in the fact that I was sleeping on my stomach. How long have I been out? Water, I croak out weakly, trying to push myself up, but I'm too weak to even be able to lift my arm, and I just give up. Tired. Is this what it feels like to hang on from the brink of death? Honestly, I hate it. 0 tenths would not be recommended. Everyone. Aris is awake. Who the fuck shouted that? Aris. Master Aris. Arf. So noisy. Shut up, let me sleep, I groan out as I try to drift back off to sleep. Oh no you don't, you shitty kid. Dayton is so lewd. Just so you know, Master Aris, you were in a coma for 10 days. I don't think you would like to add more to that. I immediately open my eyes. What? I yell out and I whip my head to Takao. You mean I missed 50 meals? I exclaim out in horror, and almost everyone literally face faults hearing that. Except Luffy and Takao. Why the hell did you count it as 5 meals a day? Ace asks, seemingly incredulous on my outburst. Because I ate 3 normal meals and 2 snack times a day. I answer in confusion, as if Ace just asked me the most obvious answer in the world. Ace and the bandits, I shit you not, literally facepalms. So what's up? I ask, changing the topic. Other than the fact that I missed 50 meals, obviously. I quickly added, I thought you're gonna die. Luffy exclaims out, bawling his eyes out. Hey, I'm not that easy to kill. You gotta try harder than that. I tell him with a roll of my eyes and a grin. Anyway, help me up. I ask. Ace and Luffy help me up gently, although I have a little difficulty staying up in place, so I use Ace to lean my weight on. And immediately grab him by the arm. Sorry guys, but mind leaving me and Ace both alone? Gonna have a one-on-one private conversation with him. I tell the others with a sweet smile. I can feel Ace flinching under my grip, while the others immediately bolt out. Is that fear on their faces? Once we're alone, I let my grip on Ace and just lean on him in silence. He's warm. I'm sorry, Ace starts shakily, for being a bad brother. I hum in reply. Well, I suppose I accept your apology. You're new to this, after all. I reply with a small shrug. But that didn't change the fact that I endangered both of you and Luffy from that bear. Ace snaps, his fists clenching on his pants that his knuckles go white. Back when we beat that tiger, it took the 3 of us as one to beat it, not by ourselves. I should have known that. I'm such an idiot. He berates with a grit of his teeth. I stay silent before letting out a sigh from my nose. Yeah, you're a big idiot. I tell him with a small smile, but at least you're our number 2 idiot. I add and snicker when he turns to look at me with a pout and a blush on his freckled cheeks. Fuck, he's so cute. Number 2 idiot. Ace echoed questioningly. I nod. Well yeah, Luffy is obviously the number 1 idiot, you're number 2, and I'm number 3. I explained to him seriously. I can literally see Ace sweat dropping. We're literally the dumbest, dumber, and dumb. I can't believe you just call yourself dumb. Ace shakes his head with an amused smile. I just grin at him. Hey, humility is a good consideration for others, you know. I tell him with a chuckle, and Ace gives me a light hit in the head for that. You really are a dumbass for shielding Luffy like that, Ace points out. He was really scared, you know. For losing you. I stay silent as I glance at the door. I can hear Luffy's muffled voice outside, arguing with Takao and Flame for not being allowed to enter the house while we have our talk. Yeah, I know. I reply, that's why I won't die. I don't care if the world wants me to die or hunt me down until the end of time, but as long as Luffy still wants me to live, I will live for him. I firmly tell him my resolve. Ace is silent as he looks at me with a blank look before he opens his lips. What's Luffy to you, anyway? You both stick to each other like glue and it's kinda annoying. He asks, raising his eyebrow. Nyehehey, jealous, ain't ya? I tease him and his face immediately flares up, his freckles lighting up. I'm not. I'll kick your ass if you're not injured. He protests, but I ignore him. But I understand the jealousy. Luffy is super cute and he's basically a ball of sunshine. A pure sunshine child with a cute toothy grin and curious owlish eyes, that's also so easy to tease with. There's nothing cuter than Luffy in this whole world. I gush out with pure adoration for Luffy that I can imagine literal sparkles around my face, while Ace seems a little disturbed by that. I knew you're a weirdo, and that just confirms it. He comments and yelps when I pinch him on his side. Like I said, Luffy is super cute and a ball of sunshine. I start again and Ace says, yeah I get it, weirdo, but I ignore Ace and continue thoughtfully, that's why I will never let anyone break him. He's the son of the show, and I will be the shadow behind the curtains to support him. That's why if you're hindering him, I'll kick your ass. I tell him with a grin. Ace just huffs and lightly hits me in the head again. As if you can. You're just a shrimp. Ace teases with a smirk. That won't stop me from backing Luffy up. And I will grow up taller than you. Just you see. I huff and Ace just rolls his eyes. Try to be taller than Luffy first. He says with a smirk. I muster up strength to slap him in the head before groaning out in pain and he just laughs at my misery. Damn you, Ace. And I guess it goes the same to you too. If you need saving, I'll save you. I tell him and he scoffs. As if I need a weakling like you to save me. Maybe, but we won't know that in the future. I shrug, recalling the huge event in the future that will happen. But until then try not to die, okay? Not only will it devastate Luffy, it will devastate me too. I tell him as I hold his hand. Ace is silent for a moment, before tightening the hold of our hands. I promise I won't die. He says firmly and I grin at him. Good. I reply, because we won't let you die either. XXX. It's been a month since my private talk with Ace. The wound on my back is almost fully healed. I can move around, but not too much, so I've been skipping SS for a whole month and it's aggravating to see the boys and the beasts having their SS while I was just watching them. Apparently it was a miracle that I can even stand at all, considering the wound is pretty deep on my back and pretty sure it got my spine and ribs. But I pretty much survived it, leaving a cool huge scarring on my back behind. I guess it's another entry into the weird shits of Op-World file. Right now, I'm standing with my back facing a full body mirror at Makino's. Because I'm not allowed to do hard work, I decided to just pay Makino a visit once in a while. Takao can fly after all, so I can just go and visit Fuchsia Village anytime I want, but considering we're pretty much not allowed to visit by Gramps, Ace and Luffy won't go in fear of Gramps. Cowards, that's what they are. So I gave Makino a visit. She seemed surprised, but she said that it's a pleasant surprise. But anyway, back to my cool scar, it's a pretty cool and huge one. It starts from my upper left back and ends at my lower right back, and it's huge enough to cover most of my back. The scars made the skin look whitish pink, with obvious claw marks shape, or something like that. I'm no doctor after all, so I have two cool scars on my back from saving the D-bros asses. Neat. And during my visit, I got myself vaccinated for one thing, and Doc Peak told me to visit again each month for the others. Phew, now I can relax from dying in a dumb way, but also I somehow need to bring Ace along to get him vaccinated too. I'm pretty sure the bandits or even Gramps actually didn't bring him to get vaccinated, but I'll ask Gramps first later when he visits. Baris-chan, are you ready? Makino asks as she peeks from the door frame. Yeah, I'm coming. I quickly wear my shirt and run to Makino. Okay, let's go. Both of us walk to Dayton's shack, bringing alcohol with us. Takao isn't with us, because I told him to keep an eye on the boys instead. Our journey is pretty smooth and calm and I suspect it's because of the road Makino took, but who knows. I'm just happy that I get to relax for once. The boys, the beasts, and the bandits cheer up when they see us. Especially the bandits, when Makino gave them alcohol. While the boys and the beasts are relieved to see me alive. So how are you guys? Any news? I ask with a smile. I hope Ace and Luffy didn't blow up the kitchen again while I'm gone. Hey, that was one time. Shishishi. That was really fun. No, everything is mostly fine. Although Master Ace and Master Luffy were arguing last night, that's mostly it. Takao answers and Flame huffs in agreement. That's good to hear. I reply with a grin, while Ace just huffs and walks away in retaliation. Hey Aris, I found a Hercules beetle. Isn't it cool? Luffy says as he shows me his findings, and I'm pretty impressed. That's awesome. Good job, Lou. I praise him, giving him a pat on his head. Teaching you how to greet people politely. I hear Makino ask. I turn to see Ace is talking with Makino and nods with a smile. Oh, his smile is super cute this time. What the hell, why didn't he smile like that to us? Yeah, I wanna thank Akagami no Shanks for saving my brothers. As the big brother, I should thank him for saving them. Ace replies with a confident smile and crosses his arms to his chest. Makino stares at him in amazement before humming in amusement and a smile, and it makes Ace blushes in embarrassment. What's with you? He snaps in embarrassment. Ahaha, sorry about that, Makino replies, covering her mouth as she laughs. Alright, I will teach you. But first, show me how you greet someone. Okay. Hello, my name is Ace. He says as he bows down and straightens up. Who the hell are you? Then Makino makes a buzzed sound and crosses her pointers together into an X. You shouldn't say that. It's impolite. She explains. Shouldn't it be, bastard? Both Luffy and I suggest. While Luffy is wearing his usual innocent face, I'm smirking as I stand next to him. Who are you, bastard? Ace said as he bows down, which makes me snicker in amusement. Ahahaha, you guys can't take this seriously, can you? Makino points out in amusement. I eventually burst out laughing and Ace quickly realized that he was being tricked and hit both of our heads together. We both start arguing and about to jump on each other, but Luffy distracted us both with something that didn't even start. One day, we ate and dashed at the town. The chef is shouting at us until Ace stops us and tells us to thank the chef for the meal, via Makino's teachings. Thank you for the meal. We say in sync as the three of us bow down. Shut up. Just pay the damn meals. The chef exclaims out. Whoops. Chef mad. Run. I exclaim as I start to run again in joy and grinning while escaping, with the other two following and laughing along. Our days went on like that, and everything was fun and games for us. Until Gramps came for a visit. When he came with his usual bellowing laugh of his, I can only stare at him silently while the boys are all scattering about into the forest. Noticing that I'm staying behind, he laughs again and I frown deeper. Are you staying behind to back those other brats up? Garp asks in amusement, but I cross my arms to my chest in response. Shut up, Marine. I spat angrily and that surprised him and the other bandits in the shack. You think you can just come here after your boss killed Sabo? Are you here to mock him? Garp is silent as his grin and stance slowly melts away, leaving only an old man behind as he crouches down to be in the same eye level as me. I look at him straight in his eyes as he returns it with those weary, glassy eyes of his. The eyes of a grandfather. What do you mean by that, Maris? What happened to Sabo? He asks softly and I grit my teeth. You remember back in May when that fucking haughty dragon came to visit this kingdom? Garp is silent, but his eyes tell me to continue on. So I did, yeah, because of that bastard, they burned Great Terminal down and Sabo got taken away by his blood-related noble dad. He ran away and set sail, but that bastard shot his boat down just because it sailed across his ship. Sabo was a noble, an ex-noble that craves for freedom, he was. Slowly, I let my arms down to grip on my shirt as I looked down. He was just a kid that wanted to be free, but before he could get a taste of it, the world shot him down like a fucking pig. I spat in fury and frustration. Tears started to build up in my eyes. Why did you serve people like that, Gramps? I choke out as tears start to spill out of me. Why are you insisting us to be one of the people that serve murderers that killed not only our brother, but anybody else's in this world? Is it not enough for them to take Sabo, but also Luffy and Ace too later in the future? Do you think making the Marines will fool and stop the world government to not look deeper into their bloodlines? Answer me, Gramps. I yell out as I grab and pull on his stupid flowery shirt collar while he stays silent. And you hiding and piling me up along with them both won't fool them either. They'll know I'm an otherworlder, and I know what humans will do when they get their hands on something incredibly rare. I add with a growl, they will either catch and sell them as rare commodities, experiment on them, or all of them. But unfortunately for them and you, I will never go down that path, because if I go down, I will bring the world along with me. I tell him firmly. Garp is silent as his lips are pulled into a thin line. His eyes are glassy as he stares into mine until he closes his eyes and puts his hand to cover his eyes. I see. He replies softly, where are Luffy and Ace? Before I can answer him, I hear familiar hurried footsteps approaching us from behind me. Don't make Aris cry, you shitty Gramps. Ace yells out when he suddenly shoves or tries to Gramps away and shields me from him with his arms out to separate me from Garp. Why yeah, don't bully Aris, Grandpa. I won't forgive you if you did. Luffy says along as he copies Ace and readying his fists. Garp doesn't seem bothered by that as he opens his arms out and the three of us just give him confused looks, so he suddenly gets closer and envelops us with his huge and wide arms and chest of his, apparently pulling us all into a bear hug. I'm sorry about Sabo. He softly says as he gently puts his big hands to stroke our heads and I can feel both boys to flinch at the mention of that name, but they stay silent as Garp continues, it must be hard to lose a brother like that. I'm sorry that I couldn't do anything about it. I'm sorry that I'm being a bad grandpa for the four of you. I stay silent as he presses us into his chest, and I can hear his heartbeats and his salty scent. I know it's not his fault. He has his own reasons to be what he is, and his intentions are good, but it's not exactly fit for us. It's not his fault, he's just another one of the victims of the world government. Closing my eyes, I gently grasp on his shirt and take a slow and deep breath. letting him keep us close in a rare but warm embrace. That night, we stayed like that, just like a normal family of one grandfather of a vice admiral of the Marine and 3 orphaned and lost children he called his grandchildren. But it's all in the past now, because tonight, our routine is back to normal. Obviously, he's still so determined to kill us all, but I'm not going down without a fight. Ace and Luffy can run away, but I'm not gonna run from this shitty old man. If I can't take him down, I won't be able to take the world down with me. Eat this, Gramps, I yell out as I jump at him and bite on his head. That didn't faze him as he easily plucks me and throws me into a tree. Wahahaha, I like your determination, brat. But pure determination won't save you without proper strength. Garp bellows out with a huge grin as he stands tall over me. I just growl at him as I push myself up to my feet again and back to fight him again, in which he easily dodges my attacks and gives me a single punch in the head. It almost knocks me out, but by pure will, I stay awake as I go back on attacking him again. Of course, the match is one-sided from the start, and he actually throws me from a very familiar cliff and into the sea. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I curse at him just before I reach the ocean. I'll kick your ass one day, Gramps. And I enter the cold, dark ocean with a splash. Dot, 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 opening parenthesis closing parenthesis. Early in the morning, I pack my stuff and take Takao with me. I leave a letter for the boys in Flame for our departure, and that we'll be back in a year after doing some research. As I hold onto Takao's back in the cold, salty air whips around me, I glance back to where Dawn Island was before. I hope they won't mind and don't do anything reckless, like searching for me. The end of Childhood Memories arc. Continued to the second arc, One Not Bounded arc. Chapter 18 updated. Dear Luffy and Ace, I know this is sudden, but I decided to go on a journey to find out about my identity. Last night, I got some weird dream shit when Gramps threw me into the sea, so I spare you the details because your muscle brains won't get it. But long story short, the dream is related to my existence in this world, so I decided to search for some information about it. I won't be gone for long. Maybe just 1 to 2 years. In the meantime, you both keep up with your training. Just because I'm on a journey, doesn't mean I will slack off either. When I return, I expect you both get stronger, because I will kick both of your asses. Also, don't think of ever going after me. You'll die in vain. I can't have you both die before you guys know what freedom is, right? I can't lose you both. One is already enough. I'll send letters each time I arrive on a new island. Sincerely, Aris. Dot, dot, dot. Ace's shoulders are trembling, Luffy's eyes are widening, and their mouths are gaping open so wide that a fly could enter it before they scream out. Airy SS. And waking everyone up on Dawn Island. XXX. Somewhere, in East Blue. I turn my head around, as if I just heard someone screaming out my name, but there's nothing but the blue, cloudy sky and strong wind behind me. Huh, that's kinda weird. What's wrong, Master Aris? Would you like to take a break? Takao asks. Nah, I'm fine. How about you? Do you need to rest? You're the one that's been flying around since dawn, after all. I point out and I can hear Takao chuckling. It's alright, Master Aris. This will be good training for me, if we ever travel by air for a long time. Takao replies as he flaps his wings and I hum. That's a good point. I might need his help to reach Impel Down in the future. Speaking of, I never actually told Takao about my future goal, didn't I? I'll tell him once we reach land later. I hold onto his neck as I look below to the blue, sparkling ocean water. We're so high in the air that even sometimes the clouds are below us. It's kinda scary and fun at the same time. Truly, it feels nice to feel the wind on your face, other than the fact that my hair whipped my face all over and it kinda stings. Mom would piss her pants if she's up this high. We're up in the air for probably a good hour or two, before we decided to land on an island nearby because the sky was getting darker, indicating an incoming storm. And we land on the ground, thunder strikes and soon enough rain is pouring down. Holding Takao's normal bird form under my arm, I quickly ran to take shelter under a nearby house. Ah, great, now I'm drenched. I put Takao down as he shakes the water off of his feathers while I squeeze out water from my shirt. We stood there for a while, watching the sky pouring down until something slid open behind me. I quickly turn around and meet eye to eye with a very familiar moss hair, but child version. Roronoa Zoro, who are you, and what are you doing here? He asks with a raised brow, also what's up with your eyes? He adds while pointing at my weird eyes. I don't know if you can see, but it's raining at this very moment. I deadpan as I point at the raining sky. That seems to annoy him a bit. And I'm born with this. Didn't your parents teach you to not make fun of other people? I point out and he rolls his eyes. Whatever, and I can see that, but what I meant is why you are sheltering here. Zoro continues with his brows burrow in annoyance. This house is the closest one when we landed. I answer shortly and that seems to confuse the moss head. Landed? What, did you just drop from the sky or something? Fucking hell, not this shit again. I did not drop from the sky. I have my partner here taking me here by the air. I exclaim out exasperatedly as I grab Takao, ignoring his yelp, and shove him to Zoro's face. You made your pet take you to the air. That doesn't sound good for the bird. He comments with narrowed eyes. It's not if the bird in question can't turn into a humanoid bird. I reply with a roll of my eyes as I throw Takao aside as he transforms into his Garuda form, ignoring his annoyance to watch Zoro widening his eyes and seemingly shell-shocked on seeing Takao transforming in front of him. Wah. Oh whoops, forgot that devil fruits are considered myths in 4 blue seas. Oh well. Now, calm your mossy head, kiddo. Can't have you short-circuiting on us. I tell him in amusement as Takao turns back into his bird form and perches on my shoulder, preening on his feathers. Zoro, on the other hand, is not. Because he lets out a yelp as he lands on his butt. What the heck is that bird? A monster. Zoro points in pure confusion and disbelief, slowly backing up deeper into the house. You haven't heard of devil fruits. Takao here ate one himself, so that's why he's like that. I reply calmly with my hands on my hips. Devil fruits. I thought they're just myths. Not if Takao here is the living evidence, I argue back with a chuckle, and my brother too, but you won't meet him yet. I added calmly. After a few minutes, Zoro finally calms down enough to stare at Takao, and the bird himself doesn't seem disturbed by it. So what kind of fruit did you eat? Zoro asks curiously as he extends his hand to touch the bird, only to get slapped away by Takao himself. Tori no mi, model, Garuda. Takao answers calmly, as if he didn't just slap Zoro's grubby hand from touching him. Garuda, what's that? It's a legendary bird or bird-like creature. It is said that they're the king of birds, a protector with the power to swiftly go anywhere, ever watchful, and an enemy of the serpent. A powerful creature, whose wings flapping can stop the spinning of heaven, earth, and hell, a vehicle mounted on by the gods. I reply with the devil fruit encyclopedia in my hands, or so it says in the book. I grin enthusiastically. Zoro doesn't seem impressed that I just read it out, but shrugs. Well, that's pretty cool, I guess. He says before turning to me, but who the heck are you? He asks. Oh, I didn't introduce myself yet, did I? I'm Aris. Sorry, introducing myself to you completely slipped my mind. Nyeheheheh. I reply with a laugh, so who are you? And what is this place? I return the question as I look at the building we used to take cover from the rain and the nearby buildings around. The architecture looks pretty Japanese, and I'd say it's pretty cool. Zoro. He answers, and this is Shimotsuki village. You're currently taking cover in our dojo. Oh okay. Any place we can stay for a while. I ask and he raises his brow. Why? Don't you have a home with your family? Zoro asks curiously. I do, but can't go home for a while. I got things to find and people to kill, so I left home. I reply with a grin as Zoro widens his eyes on the latter part. I have 1 to 2 years to do them all, so it will take a while for me to go back home. I explain to him. Thing. What's this thing you're talking about? Zoro asks, deciding to not elaborate more on the dangerous part of my checklist. I blink at him and open my lips, but I quickly close it back and just smile as I put a finger to my lips, closing one eye. That's a secret. I can't have you knowing my secret so early, after all. I say mysteriously. Yeah, whatever. I don't need to know your stupid secret after all. Zoro replies with a roll of his eyes as he crosses his arms on his chest. I just chuckle in return. Well, it's mostly because I don't know yet. That's why I'm on a journey to find it. I explain as I hop on the elevated floor of the dojo and sit there. I just got a message to find information on how to get that thing, and it said that I will find it in Calm Belt near East Blue, so might as well. I continue as I swing my legs. What, so you just left for something you didn't even know existed? Yep, I'm leaving it all to Lady Fate and just hope for the best. Zoro stares at me while I just watch the sky slowly clearing up and the rain slowly stopping, as if in thoughts or something before turning around and closing the door behind him. I can hear and feel his footsteps going away and going deeper into the dojo. I don't mind the rude exit as Takao sits down next to me, feeling a little sleepy. But eventually I hear and feel not only a pair, but 2 sets of footsteps approaching me from the sliding doors behind me before it actually slides open, revealing Zoro and a man wearing a kimono with his long hair tied into a low ponytail standing next to him. Hello there. I heard from Zoro-kun that you need someplace to stay for a while. The older man points out questioningly. I quickly hop on my feet, turn around to face him and nod. Yeah, who are you, old man? I ask. I know who he is, but I don't really remember his name, so might as well. My name is Koshiro. It is a pleasure to meet you, Aris-san. He introduces himself with a smile. How old are you? You seem younger than Zoro-kun to travel by yourself. I dunno. Maybe 9 years old. I had my birthday 2 months ago. I reply with a puff on my chest proudly. It's a miracle that I survived for 2 whole years in this world, with only the occasional waltz with deaths too. I'm pretty proud of myself. And I'm not alone. I'm traveling with my trusty partner here, Takao. He ate devil fruit, so he's strong. And I can fight. I continue as I pat on Takao's back and pat my fist to my chest. Koshiro just laughs politely while Zoro just sweat drops. Koshiro reminds me of Makino, except Makino is better compared to this misogynistic bastard. Serves him right for losing Kuina. She deserved better. Well, I suppose you can defend yourself if that's the case. And you can stay here for a while. Come, I'll show you your room. And I follow him inside with Zoro and Takao in tow, but I don't wear footwear so my feet are caked with mud because of the rain. They're already dry, so I leave flaky dirt on the way. You're leaving dirt behind. Zoro comments in annoyance and I look down to my feet. I sure did. Don't like shoes. I replied innocently. You better clean them up yourself. He continues with a scowl. Sure. And so, I got my own room and both bath and food will be given freely, but after living with 2 black holes, I eventually became the third, so I'll repay it with some of my treasure later. And apparently he let me use Kuina's room, saying that it's been a while since there's a young girl in the dojo. The room itself is not too small and not too big either. It's pretty empty, but I guess that's to be expected, when the owner herself is already long gone. Seeing the empty room makes me wonder if my room back in my home world is also empty by now. Or rather, my things back in the bedroom I shared with my siblings. I wonder if I was declared dead or missing. Then again, I wouldn't know it unless I returned to my home world, but do I want to? Sometimes at night, I tend to wake up in the middle of the night and just watch the boys sleeping peacefully. Sometimes looking at them reminds me of my family back in my home world. Not many of the memories are pleasant, but I guess that's just how Asian families work. We don't openly show our affections through words, and tough love is literally the essence in the family. Although most of the time, I just watch them sleep because they're super cute when they're asleep and quiet. Not that they're not when they're awake, but they're cuter when they're not running around like monkeys and not brooding over their blood relations weighing their shoulders. Unless you're Luffy, because he's super cute both awake and asleep, but I guess that's a pretty high bar for anyone to get past. But now that we have privacy, I can tell Takao my story. Hey Takao, you know that I kinda fell from the sky, right? I start with a grin. Yes, but you never really elaborate more than that. Takao nods calmly and I grin wider. Yep, that's because I'm not from this world. So I'm basically what the others call, otherworlder. I announce and Takao just blinks in return, so I continue on. I come from the world called Earth and I was born in a tropical archipelago country in a continent called Asia. Unlike this world, there are no such things as devil fruits or giant-sized animals or weird plants. Only normal-sized humans, normal-sized animals, and normal plants exist there. I explained to him. Takao is still looking at me with a blank look. Either he's dumbfounded or just going along, I don't know. And also this world isn't real back in my home world. It's just ink on papers back there. I add, and that seems to make him double blink in confusion. But I'm here now, so I guess this world is as real as it gets. Nyeheheheh. Wait for a moment, Master Aris. Takao screeched in panic as his feathers literally got ruffled by this revelation. Are you saying that you got transferred here? But how? He asks. That's a good question. I want the answer too. The only thing I remember is I entered a door with bright light and then I think I fell from the sky and into the sea. I answer with a shrug and a grin while Takao just sweat drop. I see that impulsiveness is very on brand of you, Master Aris. Takao comments and I just scoff playfully in return, but he continues, but what made you get transferred into this world, Master Aris? If I knew, we wouldn't go out to find out about it, Bakao. I huff with a, really? Look, but that didn't even faze Takao as he continued on. You said that someone told you about this in your dream when Garp threw you into the sea. Who is this, someone? I open my lips to answer, but something inside me tells me that I should watch my words carefully to describe the event. I don't really know, actually. I reply and look to the side calmly, but I know that this someone is not ordinary and definitely not human. And whatever it is, it's a very powerful being. So, it's a being that is akin to a god. I suppose. I don't really know, but we'll find out about it once we find this temple. I look out from the window, the sky is getting darker and the moon is showing. It's full moon with slight cloudiness today, possibly the excess from this afternoon shower. But it's kinda strange, you know. What do you mean, Master Aris? Takao asks curiously. It feels like this is not the first time this has happened. About the temple and meeting this god being in a dream, I mean. Kinda like deja vu. I groan out in confusion as I lay on the tatami floor, looking at the ceiling. But maybe I'm just imagining it. I conclude. Takao didn't say anything in return. He just looks at me with a thoughtful expression while I just let out a sigh. All of these thoughts are hurting my brains. Any subject harder than spouting information about the One Piece world and foods will give me a headache, and especially if it's related to numbers. While I love money and treasure, I can't for the life of me deal with the numbers. I think I'll leave the counting to Nami later in the future, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Fiddling with my heart locket, I let the soft chiming of the music box fill the air as my mind drifted away back home and into slumber. I should write a letter for Ace and Luffy later. XXX. Opening my eyes, I see myself in a dark space. I look around and start to walk, as the non-existent floor ripples each time I take a step. I walk and walk, until I suddenly sink into the floor. I instinctively hold my breath, but as I float in the dark space, I notice that I can breathe just fine. Floating there, I can feel movements in the darkness that slithers against my skin. I shiver a bit, but I hold my ground as mists start to form around us. There, a familiar figure floats in front of me, mirroring me as it smiles eerily at me with its dark eyes staring at me. It has galaxies in its eyes. Which way? I ask it and it smiles unnaturally wider in response before it opens its mouth, revealing a mouthful of sharp teeth. Stay to the east, little A. It answers with its fluty voice. What do you gain from this, being A? I ask it with suspicion, and it just laughs as it twirls around me in the mists. Yeshishishi, don't be so concerned about trivial matters. It replies as it slides its hands to my cheeks and bringing its face, my face, closer to mine as our eyes meets. The pair of eyes with 4 pointed stars as pupils is meeting the dark eyes with twinkling galaxies in them and no pupils, as their owners have the opposite expressions from each other. You wanna be stronger, don't you? You do, and I'm giving you an offer. It continues with a toothy grin. I just happen to be generous enough this time. Why? I ask it and it laughs. Because this time, it seems like it's going to be an interesting wave in the sea of time. It answers as it floats behind me and curls its arms, my arms, around my neck and shoulders, hugging me from behind. You're plotting something, aren't you? This time, it just giggles and whispers. It's time to wake up, little A. Slowly opening my eyes, I can feel Takao snuggling next to me and how warm he is. I can see the sunlight peeks in through the ventilation and I can hear people are training outside and inside the dojo. Covering my eyes with the back of my forearm, I let out a sigh. I miss Luffy and Ace already. Disclaimer: this story do not belong to me. The author is The Chronicle by Thief of Stealth. Chapter 19 Updated. Dear Luffy and Ace. Yo. I arrived on my first island. It was raining and we had to take cover under a house, and we met someone. He's around the same age as Ace, and he has green hair. He has a dream of becoming the world's greatest swordsman, and I think he's pretty cool. Even so, he's so bad with direction that he suddenly turned around in a straight path, and I think he has a problem with his gyroscopes. He needs to get that in check. But anyway, we're staying here for a few days before we're off again, but don't worry about me. We're strong and I'm sure we can take care of ourselves pretty well. I'll send you another letter when I arrive on another island. Until then, take care and I love you. Sincerely, Baris. XXX. Thank you for letting us stay here for a few days, Koshiro. I thank him, and even teaching me the way of the sword and giving me a wooden short sword, even. I add with a grin, patting the said sword on my back. I still have my trusty pipe staff with me, but an extra weapon won't hurt. It is not a problem, Baris-san. Koshiro replies with a kind smile. Still, I'm surprised that you can wield the sword well. You even managed to beat Zoro-kun at least once. That was pretty impressive for a beginner as a little girl. Okay, you don't have to add the last part, misogynist. Zoro doesn't seem happy about me beating his ass. Me, on the other hand, just smugly smirks at him. What can I say? I'm a little of a jack of all trades myself. I grin while rubbing my index under my nose before giving Zoro a slap on the back. Don't worry, Zoro. I'm sure you'll be the greatest swordsman in the world in the future. I'm not interested on being one, so don't worry about beating me to get that title. Shut up. Just hurry up and go. Zoro huffs as he crosses his arms to his chest and looks away with a scowl. I just laugh in return before giving him another slap on the back and he grunts in return. Well then, we're off. Thanks for the help, Koshiro, Zoro. Let's meet again in the future, if Zoro didn't get lost first. I exclaim out as I run off with Takao in tow, ignoring Zoro's shouting. Now, to the east, we go. Opening parenthesis closing parenthesis. XXX. I'd say traveling is not that hard to do. It's mostly just fun and maybe some troubles on the way while making a living, but everything is well in the end. I read more books about how this world works in each town library I visited, but I mostly just try to learn about navigation, to no avail. Luckily, Takao is smart enough to learn it for the sake of us, so he's the one that learns more about navigation than me, and that's fine by me. We also steal treasures from pirates, because why not? Plus, they get to be my training partners, by me beating them up. They're all surprisingly weak, and it's been very easy to knock them all out. Still, it's a bit weird that I can beat adult men as easily as I beat Luffy nowadays. No matter how weird the physiology of this world is, it's still strange. Does it have something to do with whatever I'm looking for? I don't know, but there's no better answer than just chasing it yourself. Still, it's kinda weird that not only do I seem to be stronger than adults, but when they're moaning and groaning in pain, it is nothing but joy to me. Like, their miseries give me some sort of sick sense of joy. Should I be worried about this new revelation about myself, or is this just puberty? Whatever. As long as I get stronger, all is well for me. After all, I need to get stronger so I can save Ace and be the helping hand for Luffy. But back to my current situation, I managed to hide from letting more shitheads coming after me and sneak my way to Takao, who's waiting for me with the stolen treasure. Well, I'm here, let's go, I announce with a grin as I climb on him, and his expression tells me that he's worried. Master Oris, you need to try to be less reckless. If anything bad ever happened to you, Takao trails off, but I just slap the back of his head. You think I'm an idiot like Luffy and Ace. I know my capabilities, so don't worry about anything. I tell him as I rest my head on his. Well, we got no more business on this island, we better get going. From what I know, we still got a long way to go. I continue. Takao didn't say anything as he flaps his wings and into the air we go, with the stolen treasure in his talons. XXX. Dear Luffy and Ace. Yo, how's life back in Dawn Island? Me and Takao. We're still alive and kicking, obviously. Hear this, we've stolen some treasure. And I beat them up easily too. It's kinda weird, but no matter. I told you I'm gonna be stronger than both of you. So better keep up the sparring and get stronger, because once I'm back, I'm gonna kick your asses. Sincerely, Oris. XXX. During our journey, we eventually give Bharati a visit. Of course, we met Sanji there too. He seems to be having fun cooking and serving up my food, and absolutely losing it when he saw Takao transforming into his humanoid form. But it seems like he's more interested with my weird eyes that he keeps on staring into my eyes and throwing sweet nothings at me until I push him away in annoyance. Oh yeah, can we stay here for the night? You see, Takao here has been up in the air for hours and he needs to rest for another day of flying. I don't want to push Takao too much, as he's an important way of transportation to find that place. I'll try to ask head chef Zeph if you can stay for the night, but I'm sure he won't turn down a small request from you. Sanji replies before turning to the said head chef that's busy dealing with the other chefs. Oi, shitty old man. Do you mind if Aris-kun and her weird birdman stay for the night? Zeph glances at us and I just wave at him with a grin. He approaches us and stares at us with a serious, hard look before grinning. Sure, if it's just for the night, I don't mind. He tells us and I cheer out with my fists in the air. But, he quickly cuts, you need to do some work for us first. Can't have another stowaway like this little eggplant here. He pokes Sanji's head, who is definitely not happy about the treatment. I chuckle at the sight in return before patting my chest. Don't worry, old man Zeph. Unlike two brothers of mine, I can at least wash the dishes without breaking all of the plates first before washing them. I tell him with a smug grin, and he seems amused by that. Well, you'll start after you finish eating, Ebby. Make sure you savor each bite. Zeph says before he walks back into the kitchen. I pout a bit at that nickname, which reminds me of Shank's nickname for me. I'm not that short. Stop calling me, Shrimp, or even, Ebby. Well, that settles that. Call me if you need help or want to order more, Aris-kun. Sanji tells me and I nod. Thanks. I'll make sure to call you if I need any. He grins in return before he's off to deal with other customers, but he's still technically a young teen, so the adults easily tower over him. It's kinda cute and funny to witness. Good for us, isn't it, Takao? I point out with a happy grin and Takao smiles in return. It sure is, Master Oris. Then this calls for celebration. Oi Sanji. Seconds, please. Coming right up, Oris-kun. We lived in the floating restaurant for a few days and I noticed two things about Sanji. One is how he's much more annoying than I thought he would be. Hearing his sweet nothings was fine for a while, but it annoys me after that. Then again, he gives me special treatments too, so I can't complain if I get free shits. Second is how much he resembles Cinderella. Hey Sanji. I call him and he literally twirls himself up to me until he stops and gives me a bow. You call, my star-eyed beauty. I roll my eyes at that, but I let it slide. If you can choose one animal to be your pet, what will it be? I ask randomly, and he blinks in return, dumbfounded. Well I don't exactly have any strong opinions towards animals I will keep as pets. He starts as he rubs his chin in thought before smiling a bit, but if I have to choose, that may be a small mouse. Why's that? I guess because I befriended a mouse once while I was cooking. He answers with a sheepish grin, I don't exactly have friends before I work here, you see. And cooking for that mouse and seeing it happily enjoying its meal makes me very happy. He continues as he looks out to the setting sun through the window. I just hum as I watch his golden locks slowly swaying by the salty wind, his blue eyes looking straight into the orange setting of the horizon, while his only visible curly brow is relaxed. Where are you from again? I ask and he turns at me. I'm from North Blue actually. He answers and I hum in return. Ain't North Blue is practically on the opposite side of East Blue that's been separated by red line. How did you get here? I point out curiously, there's no way you can climb that huge-ass red wall. I add. That actually freezes him in place as I can see cold sweats are starting to trickle out from him as he immediately turns back to look at the horizon with a nervous laugh. Bingo. I've been curious about this since the Jaya arc, on how Sanji said that he knew about the Nolan the Liar storybook is famous in North Blue and how he's actually from North Blue, but unfortunately Oda never really elaborate more about Sanji's past. Unless he did, but I already got thrown here before I managed to find out about it. The conversation falls into silence as I can see that Sanji is definitely contemplating throwing himself overboard to avoid the question, so I decide to give him a break from it. Do you want to change the topic? Yes. Bad past, huh? Quote, quote. That's fine. I'll find out about it myself later in the future. It's more fun that way. Unless Lady Fate decides something else instead. XXX. Dear Luffy and Ace, we found a floating restaurant. It's not exactly an island, but hey, it's basically a land too. The floating restaurant is called Barati, and there's a kid with blonde hair. He has swirly eyebrows and it's kinda funny to look at. He's quite a flatterer, you see. He keeps on flirting with any ladies he sees before he gets kicked by the head chef, so he gets back to work. Both of them seem to have the same relationship as us and Dayton, or maybe even with Gramps. Oh, and Sanji is a pretty good chef too. He had a dream of finding all blue, a legendary sea or whatever. I think that's a pretty cool dream to have for a chef. We're staying here for a night because Takao is tired from flying for hours, and I'm super hungry, so it's a double benefit for us. We'll be off again in the morning. Sincerely, Baris. XXX. Days and nights, the moon waned and waxed, and the sun came and went. We arrive from one island to another, we stay around for a while, I kick people's asses, and I feel more and more apathetic. It feels like something is slowly sucking something out from me. Like each time I get further and further from Luffy and Ace, the more I care less about anything around me unless it's a threat or benefits me. Takao is worried, but I just waved him off each time. And the more I feel that way, the more I feel irritated and angry at literally anything that crosses my path, which usually results in people getting beaten up and inanimate objects getting destroyed. Takao always stopped me from being too excessive with my actions. But still, I'm blaming this on puberty that I have to experience. Again. Anyway, I'm actually bleaching and dyeing my hair. I need to appear different from my actual look, so no one can recognize me when they encounter me or when I go back home. No one can put any correlation between my time at home and my time while traveling. I bleached and dyed my long hair crudely, considering I have never bleached or dyed my hair before, but it gets the job done on making me slightly unrecognizable, and thankfully my hair is strong enough to withstand the bleach. Although Takao is easily spotted because there's no other bird with bright blue feathers like him, I didn't let him go humanoid or even talk when there are many people around. My new look will make it easier to infiltrate marine bases, but I need something to hide my face. So I decided to make one myself. I have never done wood carvings and painting it before, let alone actually making a wooden mask and painting it myself, but here we are. And for some reason, the only design I have in mind is the mythical figure of Garuda, which is Takao's DF. I'd say, it looks cool as heck, and seems sacred. Cursed. Well, no matter. It gets the job done and it fits my face enough to cover it, so I have no complaints. I didn't know you could do wood carving, Master Oris. Takao comments when he watches me admiring the finished mask. Well, I didn't either. I guess I'm secretly a genius, after all. I smugly reply and he just blankly stares at me before turning away, ignoring me. In any case, I think it's a bad idea for you to infiltrate marine bases. Plus, it doesn't have any benefit towards your goal, does it? Takao asks in concern. I look at him calmly before looking at the mask, gently tracing my thumbs on the painted mask. You don't understand, Takao. I start as I close my eyes and open them again to glance at him. I have to get stronger, and what's better way to get stronger than fighting marine bases filled with trained sea law enforcers? Takao starts, but I quickly cut him off. Ace will die in the future. I tell him and grip on the mask tight, and his death will devastate Luffy. It will devastate everyone dear to him, and I can't just let that happen. Not when Ace finally found the one question he wanted the answer of, but not being able to enjoy it fully. Master Ace will. I did tell you that I'm not from this world and how this world is just ink on papers back there, didn't I? Well, Ace will die later when he's 20, in a public execution like the Marines did to his biological father. There will be a huge war that shakes the whole world, and I plan to join that war to save Ace. I explain as my eyes look at the mask in my hands resolutely. I don't care if I have to kill or sacrifice something to save him and Luffy. Heck, I'll be the monster that loses my sense of self just to keep them safe, and I will never regret that choice. I turn to him with a sheepish smile. I'm sorry for dropping it on you like that, but you need to understand my reasoning. Takao is silent with disbelief still written all over his bird face before closing his eyes and letting out a sigh, before opening them and looking at me with resolve. Master Oris, I have nothing to say other than the best of luck for that mission of yours, but please try to never shoulder that burden by yourself. Takao says calmly, you have me, your partner, to share shouldering that heavy duty, so please never fear to share anything with me. He finishes with a gentle smile and a gentle bump of his head to my shoulder. I stare at him blankly before everything gets blurry and something warm starts to trickle out from my eyes, and then I realize that I'm crying. I quickly try my best to wipe them away, but they just stream harder. The Takao transforms into his humanoid form to give me a hug. Thankfully, we're on the cliffside of a forest dead at night, so there will be no one to spot him. I don't even know why I am crying, but it feels like the big lump in my chest and the heavy pressures on my shoulders are slowly being lifted up and letting me breathe. It's not completely gone, but it's bearable for me to go on with the pressure. I don't know why, but it feels like it's been a while since the last time such pressure was lifted up from my person. It's like I've been shouldering this burden for many years until this very moment. Thanks, Takao. You're the best partner in crime I ever have and you're not allowed to die unless I tell you to. Maybe not the latter part, but I will do my best to support you shouldering the burden. I just laugh at that comment and hug him tighter, burying my face into his feathery chest that's surprisingly very well defined, like a pair of firm pillows. I'd say, having Takao as a nice, warm and living pillow has its benefits. XXX. Dear Luffy and Ace, I'm going to infiltrate a marine base and kick everyone's asses to the bucket to get stronger. Don't tell Gramps I'm kicking their asses. Wish me luck. Sincerely, Baris. Chapter 20 updated. Sometimes, I think to myself, what did I do to deserve this? Why am I like this? How did everything come to this? Over and over, with no answer in sight. Usually, I tend to ignore them all. Other times they're so loud that it's unbearable for me. But when I got thrown into this world and met Luffy, none of those matter to me. Seeing his bright smiles and hearing about his dreams make those dark thoughts float away and disappear, like sea bubbles floating to the surface of the ocean. He may be still childish at times, but most of his intentions are pure and just. He's still under 10 years old, so he still has more to learn on how to be diplomatic and a good captain for his future crewmates. Luffy is like the sun. His light burns bright, driving the darkness away and bringing light as the dawn of the world. His light brings joy and life into those he shines on, revealing everything out and waking everyone up to start their daily activities. Burning bright and hot, warming everyone up from the previously cold night and enabling them to move again. Ace, on the other hand, is like the stars. His lights twinkled in the night sky and guided anyone through the darkness, just like the star then guided the Magi to meet baby Jesus. He's far away and could be already gone, but his lights will still travel and reach us, even after he's long gone. His lights will still burn for many years to guide us in the future. And if Luffy and Ace are the source of the lights, Sabo is the moon that reflects their lights. His light isn't as bright and sometimes he gets overshadowed by both of them. The moon accompanies the stars at night while waiting for the sun to rise. Just like Sabo and Ace are inseparable before, they both will always appear together until Luffy shows up. Together, both of them are paving the night sky to prepare for the actual source of light to bring dawn to the world. Me, on the other hand, is just a mere stargazer fish. I am their loyal audience. Watching them come and go from deep in the sea, attacking those who tried to obscure my vision to watch them, and wishing to be more than a mere audience. Maybe someday, my wish will come true. But until then, I will keep watching them. XXX. There's the child. Get them. I just laugh as I keep on running, dodging on any grabby hands before giving them a heel palm strike right in their nuts, letting them screech out in pain and giving me the opportunity to escape. None of them are wielding weapons because I already managed to steal them all. Though I let Takao take and hide them away while I fight the Marines head on, before he comes to pick me up. Oh, I also stole their books and other important files, including money too. It's easy to do it when you're disguising yourself as an innocent child wanting to go sightseeing and memorizing the whole blueprint of the base. Get that masked child. Don't let that troublemaker escape. Readying my pipe staff, I swing it at the closest one's knee and hit it as hard as I can, letting him go down with a scream of pain, clutching on his knee as I keep on running and going up the stairs, as more Marines are hot on my heels. I can feel that someone is jumping at me from behind, but I quickly step aside and turn around to face him, swinging my pipe staff at the guy right on his head before turning back around to the front and continue on running. The exhilaration of fighting those who are stronger and bigger than you is very exceptional. It's as if you're eating really good food and having a really good warm bath. It feels really good and fulfilling. But even so, it's not enough, like something is missing. I shake my head at that thought as I jump and step on a Marine's head, using her as a jumping stool to reach the top floor of the stairs. I don't have time for that. I need to focus on this fight. One wrong move and I got caught, that'll be the end of me. Run and keep on running, up and keep on going up, climb and keep on climbing, until I'm at the top of the building with the moonlight illuminating the dark sky behind me. I laugh as I stand at the top of a water tower and look down on the Marines below, letting the night wind blow over my long, half-assed dyed dirty coral pink hair like a lion's mane. I slam down my pipe to gain their attention on me and grin behind my mask. Not that I need more than they've already given me, but this is for dramatic purposes. Listen up, you boot-licking, sea dogs. I called out, my name is, Garu, the Dragon Hunter. You sea dogs can sleep and dream all you want for tonight, but I hope you remember this face of mine, because sooner or later, I will haunt you in your waking selves. Anyone who has a connection with those haughty mighty dragons, I pause for a moment as I hold my pipe with both hands in the air, before I continue with a shout, are my enemies. You better remember me and deliver this message that I will come for all of their heads in the future, so dream on while you can. I let out a maniacal laughter as the Marines looked absolutely horrified by that declaration, not realizing that Takao was waiting nearby for my signal to swoop in and grab me. Make sure you deliver it to them, that this, Garu, is coming for them. I finish before taking a backward jump. The Marines yell out in shock, as Takao swoops in and grabs me by the pipe into the night sky. Everything seems to go according to plan, Master Oris. Takao comments with a slight amazement. I just laugh at that. Nyeheheheh, we'll see about that later. I reply before continue on with a serious tone, for now, let's go grab our things and off to the next island. We have no use of this place anymore. I tell him and he grunts in agreement as he flies into the direction of our temporary hideout to grab our things. Now that's done, it's time to juggle both of that and finding the temple of this sea god. XXX. When we arrived at a new island, I was worried that my nighttime occupation might hinder my daytime activities. I thought I would be fucked with this weird colored hair of mine is the same as my alter ego, but after a few days and the news of Garu started to spread around via newspapers, apparently no one really gives a shit. That way, I can still do other activities during the day without my nighttime activities hindering me. I would blame it on it being dark during nighttime, but it's technically a blessing for me. Then again, we don't really need to go to nearby towns. We can just hunt our own food and sleep in the forest, just like back home. And because of that, I mostly spend the day reading the important files I stole. It was mostly filled with names of the Marines in the Marine base I just messed with, so I buried those away so I won't leave any traces of my existence. The rest are maps of the previous island and some other islands, and blueprints of the previous Marine base. I don't need the blueprints anymore, but I'll keep them for a keepsake. How to read maps? I ask in confusion as I look at the said map in my hands, turning it vertical and horizontal occasionally to no avail. Well, first of all, you put the map upside down, that's why you can't understand it, Master Oris. Takao replies calmly while I just blush a bit in embarrassment as I turn the map around. But I still can't understand a thing. Yeah, definitely no idea. Takao, you deal with these. I have zero clues about navigation. I tell him as I throw him the said map and change my attention to the big hall of weapons from Marine Base number 1, searching for a good weapon for me to use. Not a single cool thing in sight. Only the boring old swords and guns. Blah, I don't use guns, so I'll sell those later. The swords are not even cool, so I'll sell those later too. Sheesh, do I need to commission a blacksmith to get my own personal weapon? Finding a good weapon in these seas is like finding a needle in a haystack, unless you have a metal detector in hand. That, or I should just go straight into the Grand Line to find it. Our destination seems pretty close by anyway. Yeah, we can try. Hey Takao, I called and he turned to me from the map as I grinned at him, wanna go to the Grand Line after all of these? XXX. Dear Luffy and Ace, I decided to go to Paradise to find myself a good, personal weapon. I'll bring you guys some souvenirs when I reach Tsubayati Archipelago. Hopefully I'll survive there, because you know how that place works, unless you guys haven't been paying attention to our education session. Also I'm gonna meet that old man Rayleigh and have a lil talk. Sincerely, Oris. XXX. It sure is hard to read the newspaper when it's super windy. I comment out loud as I brush my hair away from my face. They're getting too long and they keep on whipping my face. It stings. You shouldn't even read the newspaper while we're flying in the first place, Master Oris. Takao replies calmly, considering this occurrence has already happened so many times already. But it's getting good. I cannot not read it. I have no time to read for fun once we reach an island. I protest with a pout as I lunge forward to cling to his neck. Listen up, Birdbrain. You just cannot understand the coolness of Germa 66 from this propaganda comic about Marines and how they keep on trying to kick Sora's ass. Still, I didn't know you're an avid comic reader, Master Oris. Takao says as he immediately tries to balance himself back and I stare at him blankly at that statement. I read over 700 chapters of One Piece manga, and you didn't know I'm an avid comic reader. Takao, you birdbrain, do you even know me, you traitorous bird? I exclaim out dramatically as I put him into a headlock and he immediately struggles. Master Oris, we're high up in the air. Don't change the subject. Answer me, bird face. We didn't fall, fortunately, but apparently my devil fruit encyclopedia did and I'm not happy about it. XXX. Slowly, I stir myself awake, only this time, not into the waking world. No, this time, into the usual dreams I get right after we reach a new island. Turning around to face the figure that's swimming in the mists, I look at it straight in a pair of familiar eyes. Which way? I ask the being calmly, the same question I asked. The figure will grin in return. Its toothy grin and twinkling eyes are glinting in the endless void of the dream. Keep going east, little A. It replies calmly. What would I get if I found this temple of yours? It grins wider. The power you seek most will be there. I narrow my eyes, but not surprised by the answer because this exact same Q&A session has been going on for the past many dreams before, with the exact same questions and answers just repeating each other like a broken record. And what do you get from this, creature A? It's not a question, it's a demand. Geshishishi, nothing you should be concerned about, little A. It replies, now, it's time for you to wake up and continue on. We'll meet again. And I did wake up, with my mouth feeling extremely dry and salty, as if I just drank a mouthful of seawater. I sit up and quickly grab my water pouch, downing it in one go and wipe the stray trickle of water with the back of my hand. Takao, I call as I stir the bird awake. We keep on going east, like usual. XXX. Dear Luffy and Ace, I miss you guys. I wanna go home, but I need to do this. Sincerely, Baris. XXX. It's Garu. Get your weapons, soldiers. B. But sir, the weapons. W. What? Where are our weapons? I swiftly dodges when one lunges at me and jumps on his head, using the other heads as stepping stones before I jump into the vent above me. I crawl on forward slowly and silently, navigating myself into the room where they store the important papers, aka the archives. Quietly opening the latch, I jump down and quickly lock the door before immediately going into action. Grabbing all of the books, files, and papers into the sack I bring along, I drag them along to the nearby window where Takao is waiting on a tree. Seeing me, he immediately transforms and flies in, grabbing the sack and immediately flies away as I close the window back and unlock the door. I can feel there's no one on this floor yet, so I quickly sneak out through the door and run off upstairs. There are a few people on the next floor, and I can fend them off easily to make a commotion for the others to come, and the dramatic exit will occur again. They're all gathered up by the end of the stairs. Good, saves the trouble of gathering them up to attack. Readying my pipe, I jump and strike them. Head, sides, neck, groin. They're all shouting and screaming in pain while rolling around on the floor and I frown in annoyance. So noisy. I blankly look down on them as I bring my pipe up before bashing them in the head until they're all unconscious and bleeding. They're still breathing, so I quickly step on them and run upstairs as lots of footsteps are going up the stairs to the current floor. I have no time. It's almost midnight. Up and up, until I reach the rooftop. There's no water tower in sight, but it doesn't matter. Not the first time this happens. Stop right there, Garu. I slowly turn around to face them in the particular speaker. She looks like an important figure. Is she the captain? I order you to stop resisting and turn yourself in. You're surrounded and there is no way to escape. The captain orders and I scoff as I bring my pipe up before slamming it down to the floor, unknowingly cracking it under my strength. It's been fun playing with all of you, I say with a tad deeper voice, ignoring her words as I hold my pipe with both hands, but I got what I want, and I have no use of you guys anymore. I climb up the railings and face them again. Have fun with the empty archive room and no weapons. I bid my farewell with a laugh before I jumped off the railings, with Takao immediately swooping in to grab me into his arms and flying off into the night sky. And just like that, the cycle will loop around again. Like seriously, I can't believe the Marines are not learning from the first 5 when I sneak into their bases, especially when I always steal their shits and go to the top floor after I'm done playing with them. While I love it being easy, where's the challenge to that? Hopefully, the next ones will be much more fun than the last ones. XXX. Dear Luffy and Ace. It's been a while, isn't it? It's almost New Year, which means it's almost Ace's birthday. I've been away for 6 months, but it feels like years to me. I miss both of your bickering, and definitely miss kicking your asses, obviously. I'm getting closer to my destination, or I think I am, so hopefully I can go home as soon as possible. I don't think I can survive another year without sticking close to keep my eyes on you troublemakers. I hope you guys didn't destroy Hightown without me. But I need to get going now. Wish me luck. Sincerely, Baris. I stare at the letter I wrote, rereading it with a small smile before closing my eyes. It's not enough to satisfy the gaping hole in my heart, craving for seeing the boys again, but at least it's filled up for a bit. Opening my eyes, I fold the letter and slip it into the envelope, sealing it and putting it inside my satchel, together with the other dozens of letters I wrote from the start of my journey. It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Just a little bit more, and we'll be home soon. I just need to deal with this one corrupted Marine base, and then I'll be off on our way again. While playing around with the other Marine bases is fun, by the end of the day there's still people with power over civilians. Corruptions are common occurrences to those with power, fame, and money, and they will use it against those who lack them. I hate it, but equality and balance in the world is such a fleeting and childish dream. Neither here nor in my homeworld, the strong will eat the weak, while the weak can only accept their fate. And one day, they will also devour Luffy and Ace whole. I hate it. I hate the world and its unfair systems. If Luffy didn't live in the said world himself, if Ace didn't have the dream to prove the world how much he is worth, and if Sabo himself isn't working on changing the world for the better, I would very much destroy it. And because of that, I need power to protect those 3. I'm weak at the moment, and I need power. This, being A, is offering me the thing I wanted, like the devil himself, and if it thinks I will be easy to lure in, then this being is absolutely right. But no matter what, I will still use it up to my own freedom. I will use the power to fight for my own selfish needs, and no godly beings can stop me from doing so. Because I'm just an egoist.